Bev's Video Kingdom is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
This episode of Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Prestige Extermination Service. Need that pesky raccoon that keeps rummaging through your garbage to disappear? Need that mouse that keeps scaring the poop out of your butt taken care of? Let the stable of magicians at Prestige Extermination Service take those varmints out of your house and into their magic acts. You know why they call the second act of a magic trick the turn, right? Because the magicians at Prestige Extermination Service will turn those pets into dead. Our magicians have no shame in turning a raccoon into a pretty little finch. Or a pain-in-the-ass mouse into a finch. Or a shit-eating gopher into a, you guessed it, a pretty little finch. Prestige Extermination Service doesn't kill birds. They're not monsters. Let me set the scene for you. First, there's the pledge. The pest making your life hell is caught and becomes part of one of our magic shows. It is presented to the audience in a cage, and then a magic cloak of death is draped over the cage. Next, there's the turn. Bang! What? The magician slams both hands down on the cloak-covered cage with all his force, killing the varmint probably instantly. And then there's the prestige. The magician pulls a beautiful yellow canary out from behind his back. With the audience slightly confused, far back in the darkness of the crowd, there's one high-pitched scream of joy from the audience. It's you cheering with tears in your eyes. Then slowly the crowd's cheers grow into a roaring frenzy of bloodlust and a love for true magic. Prestige Extermination Service. Magic hates animals.
Oh, that is not PETA approved.
No, PETA would not like. I don't think
either
like
is the prestige.
Yeah, I'd say PETA is not happy about the prestige.
That made me laugh.
They kill so many birds in that movie.
Oh my god,
it's a thing.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just a blind ride, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Natak and brag your favorite podcast. Let's start this thing. Woo!
Hey! Bev's Video Kingdom. Was that loud?
Jesus.
Was that loud to you guys?
I was like, somebody by the fence? Is somebody over there?
It was fine.
I was like, oh, I totally have a good opening for the pod, and then that's what I came up with.
Just screamed,
"Hey!" Yeah, I was just like, wanted to make sure you guys were awake. So we're out here in the Bev's outdoor studio. It is a not too chilly of a night.
We've got some cars whirring by on Whitmore Avenue here, just cruising.
Well, it's a sad day here on Bev's Video Kingdom. I'm like angry and sad, and Brad, can you fill everybody in on what's going on with our socials?
I guess we're in Facebook jail right now, I believe.
I think that's the term.
And it was just sudden, it was swift, and it was just like as fucked up as you think Facebook is as far as the way they kind of run things. It was pretty much all of that. Because they told us, they sent us a little email, but they didn't specify what we had done.
Nothing
Something
at all.
Something along the lines of violating the terms of service. You can't post illegal shit.
Yeah, like things that break the law or whatever. So we kind of had a couple ideas of what it might have been.
I'm positive what it was.
But then they're like, do you accept your guilt? Or do you want to appeal?
Yeah.
Do you want to accept your guilt?
It's pretty fucking like, if they're like, you accept this and we'll put you on the table and pull out your intestines, or do you want to,
Well, yeah, the acceptance, I thought, okay, accept means that they're going to just,
restore it.
Take down the shit that we messed up on, and then we keep going. Like,
so Facebook jail, I mean, I've never been in Facebook jail because I don't actually post on Facebook.
It's
but
my first time.
The thing about it that's funny to me is that, like, I know people that are like, oh, I'm in Facebook jail, and then they're back like a few days later. Like, our shit is gone.
So
completely removed.
So far, the food's not bad.
Food, it's great. Actually, they have good beer at this jail that we're in.
Mine's moving.
Yeah, so the two things, right, are either we did Dogma last week. Go listen to that episode.
Yes.
And we posted a YouTube video. It wasn't our content. We linked to YouTube where there is a full length. It's still up. A full length video of Dogma.
Which was we did encourage that to happen just because fuck Harvey Weinstein.
Fuck Harvey Weinstein,
who is in prison.
And you know
right
what?
now.
I just want to
26
point
year
out
sentence.
that if Facebook took us down for that shit, then they're no better than Harvey Weinstein. So
yeah,
you own that. You
I
own
can't
that
believe
shit.
Facebook is siding with Harvey Weinstein.
That's what I take.
That's
from
what the
this.
headline should be tomorrow.
Like a Mark Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg sides with Weinstein.
That's what,
If we could get that into like just the media verse of that would
you know
be,
what would be really like perfectly fitting is if we made a meme and then fucking circulated it on Facebook that said that and it just caught wildfire.
All I can say though is so it's a business page. When you have your podcast page, it's a business page, and so like we're all the managers of it. And I can just imagine if I had a real business that I was making money off of, and like I relied on my Facebook
you'd lose
page,
your mind.
I'd be going shit like ballistic right now.
Although it's kind of a weird thing. Like I had this thought where like, I like to try to drive this kind of cognitive dissonance out and just, live in a very simple world where I'm always right. But I was like, okay, I'm super fucking angry. Like you were like, I'm sad. I'm like rage monster. I was like, I will find you, Mark Zuckerberg, and I will fight you.
That's how Nate deals with his feelings.
I do deal with my feelings. So I was like rage monster about it, but then I was like, yeah, your private business that makes you money. You cannot kick me off this.
That hosts us for free.
My business cannot make its money. Fuck you.
That hosts us for free and offers us this free service and access to people.
How dare you?
No, it's true.
But I tried to push that out because it cut me up literally last night. So I was like, oh, fucking, I'm right.
Yeah.
So let's not rethink.
But we're upset, guys. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg.
So maybe the page is up as you're listening to this. Maybe the page is back up. I think we're in the appeals process and we're hoping for a good result.
And I will say, I know some very cool Facebook employees, including one who was a sort of a friend of a husband of a friend of my sister's, and my sister Amy, who's awesome, like immediately jumped on this and was like, "Who do I know?" She contacted somebody. He put an appeal for us. So there's people helping us out. Hopefully, they'll get back up. If not, we're going to go rogue and make a new Bev's Video Kingdom movie podcast.
We're going to make our own social media.
Isn't that what you do? You just make your own platform.
Trump did it, dude. Don't you see all the people on his special
I think that's what
one?
we got to do.
He did make
And we're going to start Movier.
And I will say I made a cool connection today because of it, because I got this message in like my secret like box where they don't tell you unless you look really deep in your Facebook Messenger.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, what's that little thing on my picture? And it brought me to Joshua Sloan, who's one of the Rewatchables Facebook page admins, and he's like, dude, where'd the fuck your Facebook page go? He's like, I just went over there to give you guys shit for saying you hadn't seen Slacker on the Dogma pod. I think it was the Dogma, yeah. And he's like, of course I haven't seen it either. That was the joke, but it wasn't there. And so anyway, I was kicking around with him, and he said that he was thinking about coming to the IPA release. But
how can you be an admin for the Rewatchables and you've never seen Slacker?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my god!
Seriously, Joshua.
We're gonna burn him so bad.
Anyway,
that's terrible.
so if you decide to come on out, you got a free T-shirt. Bev's Video Kingdom T-shirt.
Well, as we were saying earlier, it's totally Scotch Beck's fault, right? Isn't it, Scotch?
We all agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That checks out. Even Scott agrees. So Scotch just walked into the Bev's outdoor studio. And the other thing is we got the beer release coming up, and that's what Josh was saying. He wanted to come out for the IPA release. We got less than 2 weeks, dudes. Saturday after next.
Holy shit.
Hey, we tasted a little
Yeah.
just right. It's getting close to finish, but we got to try a little sample, and oh my Lord, folks, it's going to be delicious.
What day does this come out?
Okay, so they all should be listening right now on January the
25th.
Yeah, so if you're listening on the launch day here, or on the drop day, it's January 25th. So like less than 2 weeks,
Like 10 days. Yeah,
Wild.
We get to go and like taste the finished product this Saturday.
So full disclosure, we went and tried some of the like halfway done beer.
it was pretty damn good.
And dude, it was pretty tasty. The so there's like a lot of organic matter and vegetable matter kind of just floating around in it. Yeah. So it had like a bitter aftertaste, but the initial taste of it was really tasty.
Walter at Last Call is a genius.
Walter is a mad scientist.
He's brilliant.
Unreal,
man.
dude. And
So
he's
much
like
fun.
self-taught. He's not like a guy that was just like drank at the beer room. Was like at the tap room, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to try."
No, speaking of finding your passion, that's what Walter did. He found his
man.
passion. That dude is devoted to his craft and makes delicious beers down there at Last Call Brewing, Oakdale, California.
I think if you're listening to this, Walter's in Louisiana. So shout out to Walter in New Orleans. If you're, this one's for you.
Kendra, Walt, I hope you guys are enjoying the shit out of New Orleans.
Tearing up some po' boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some beignets.
Getting that delicious food
whatnot.
grub.
Yeah, so come on out on February 5th to Last Call Brewing. We're going to get there like 4 or 5 in the evening on Saturday, February 5th. We're going to be, Scotch Beck's going to be playing some music.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, yeah. Zachy and I might jump in for a song here and there, and then we're gonna have all. We might even. I keep saying we're gonna bring the pod equipment. All the guys look at me funny. I'm doing it. I don't give a shit what you
Trivia, a few trivia questions for some prizes, and so there's gonna be some merch.
Longest
Some shirts.
traveled person, whoever travels the furthest to the pod is going to get a free $20 T-shirt. So, I mean, what's $600 on a plane ticket when you get a $20
You
T-shirt?
get a free shirt when
It's
you
like-
get there.
yeah. It's basically the ticket's free,
completely
basically.
worth it.
One thing I know about our listeners is that they have tons of disposable income. So, I mean, I'm sure it'd be no big deal.
Disposable income and time.
Yeah, we're aiming for the like sort of filthy rich crowd is where we're at. We're going for like the sort of trust fund.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, Modesto Airport's real close. If you want to bring in your jet and you're just kind of cruising there,
Tons of jets in there.
yeah, just come on in. They've got hangars. I know some people.
All Modesto's jet guys keep their jets there, guys.
So we will have our T-shirts. You've probably seen them on our socials. They say Bev's Video Kingdom. They're cool, traditional T-shirts. We're also doing some tank tops for the ladies. Our wives were like, we need tank tops. So we ordered some extras. So for the women who want tank tops, you got those. So it's going to be just a party. We're going to have a great time. You're going to order our BVK IPA. So you guys got to come out.
Did we talk about the food truck? Did we tell everybody
no.
about the food truck?
Dude, no.
Brad, who do we have bringing the food game?
Oh yeah, we
at our
got
party?
Saucing It Up, and they are. They used to be down in LA. Now they're up here in the NorCal scene, and they are doing chicken, like nuggets and spuds. But the key thing here is you got to get their little chicken biscuit. It's a
biscuit
chicken biscuit sandwich with a little pickle, a little maple syrup.
Yeah, they look like they drizzled some like honey or something on it. Oh my god!
They got a little spice to it, a little sweetness, and they will knock your socks off. And it's gonna be they're gonna be serving those all night. So
Coming out, have some fried chicken and carbs, and we're just all gonna get fat and drunk.
Party
and
with us.
yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
good times, man. We all need some good times right now.
Yes,
So
sir.
did we watch a movie?
I don't know.
The train's here.
I've watched some movies in the last week.
I have also watched some movies. I watched
Yeah,
some serious movies and quite a bit of Cobra Kai. Actually, I don't know if you guys are all caught up on.
Never
Cobra
got
Kai.
back onto it after season 1.
Oh
I
man,
haven't even started.
it's
My family was yelling at me as I was walking out the door, like, "We don't get to watch Boba Fett tonight." I'm like, "Sorry."
oh,
maybe
I haven't
tomorrow."
started that yet.
Yeah, so
Anyways, my quick take on Cobra Kai, because I know you guys are all wondering. it's basically slowly and actually pretty rapidly turning into Power Rangers. It's literally, if you ever watched Power Rangers when you were a kid and you saw the acting and there's the train, it's fucking Power Rangers. All right. Guys, I'm Zach. I picked the movie tonight. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Prestige.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
And I think everybody has seen it. I know Scott hadn't seen it yet. We didn't.
Scott's dead.
Hello.
There you are.
Yeah, I actually watched it last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that later. But you guys had all seen it, right?
yep.
So 2006 Christopher Nolan movie. Man, I will just say that I had a really hard time coming up with a body bag today because I love this movie so much. It's got all of my big things.
I got 2, so
Which is like perfect. I just love the twists, the back and forth timeline stuff, and the period drama. I love all of those things. They come together for me very nicely. There's even some sci-fi mixed in there, and it's not insanely overdone to where it's completely ridiculous, which I just love. So I'm curious what our thoughts are. What do you think, Nikki B?
Love this movie. Owned it before my wife's last garage sale. So owned it for a very long time. Not a blind buy.
not a blind buy.
Not a blind buy.
She took your Prestige and put it on the lawn.
No,
huh?
I sold it. I had to make hard decisions, hard cuts.
I hope you
What
bargained
did
like
you
crazy.
keep?
You were just like, "Hey, these guys like, hey, $2." Like, no, $5.
It was a good sized box of
Three,
of a
four.
cardboard box of
Oh, they bought all the DVDs.
for like 16,
like half of what I had.
$16.
Was it all the blind buys?
No, because Prestige was in there. I had to make some hard choices, but at that point, I had watched it plenty,
Okay.
and I got my full. You guys know I'm a Nolan head
For sure.
I was so hyped for Interstellar when it came out, and I didn't forget how much I love The Prestige, and I do think I'm with Zach. I think this is my favorite. Nolan blows me away. It just makes me think about him and how he's able to be a bridge from blockbuster and also cult classics. Like, not many directors can do the same.
Yeah.
It's either one or the other. And Nolan,
And do you think this is a cult classic or a
100%
blockbuster?
cult classic. Okay. That's my take on it.
I don't know. Do you have the box office?
And talking about it, I mean, over the years now, it might have grossed enough, but over the years, I feel like the Batman trilogy takes a lot of the attention. Memento being his first art film. Inception was a huge, big budget. I have the
Prestige was $40 million budget with 109 million worldwide gross. So
that's pretty big. But it's funny because it did have that gross and it has some real star power. I mean, it wasn't like Bale or Jackman were not huge at the time, but it does, in like thinking back on it, it does have the feel of like a little bit more like closer to Memento than Batman.
Well, now looking at his catalog, right? It's like looking at his IMDb. You got some circles where it's left out, and Dunkirk is like the big, like, blowing people's mind.
Yeah.
And you have other circles that I think The Prestige is that movie that takes the place of the Dunkirk.
No question. For me, Prestige is certainly better than Dunkirk.
100%.
I agree, but man, you should hear people. People geek out on Dunkirk.
I know.
I tried to rewatch it since I've heard that discussion on a pod that we know, and I got to rewatch it again. It's great it builds tension and all that, but man, for the way that they talked about it, Prestige
Isn't it your boy Tarantino? It's like his movie, right? Like, he loves.
He was on, on the rewatchables. He was a guest. They talked about that. Like, it's like in their minds, it's a film house. It's an art. It's a film school movie.
Dunkirk blew me away in the theaters. Just one, because the sound.
Did you see it IMAX?
Yeah, and the sound editing and everything. Just, I mean, when they're shooting through that old, like, broken ship, and it's God damn, it was so loud and amazing.
Music, and it's literally like a ticking clock. The entire like movie.
I love the movie, but Prestige is just a much more enjoyable movie to me.
Yeah, and so to get through my stuff, so I can get so you guys can talk. It's Nolan, how he approaches time. He approaches time in every single one of his movies, and I fucking dig that theme. It's approached in a different way every time, and what a cool theme to like approach as an artist and a director and someone who does his homework first of all. And a lot of his movies are based in reality. I've read enough and done enough research about him. Is like he respects the subject matter that he's going to direct enough to do the research, do his homework, hire physicists for Interstellar, base his stories and his plot and his writing in reality so that he can make these spectacle movies. Everything's rooted in, he has a plan. There's a purpose for everything. He does his homework, and then he just fucking rolls. And, execs line up to pitch him. He's like just an amazing big budget artist of a director that he missed on Tenet. I hated Tenet. And
I didn't hate it, but it's not a good
I really disliked Tenet. And but I can't wait. I mean, I will watch every single movie, and we'll get into, Drinking the Director and all the other stuff after that. But loved it, loved Prestige, loved the pick.
I really just, after watching this, I think my third or fourth time watching it, it just gets so much more enjoyable, I think, each time you watch it, because you see how much is set up. You see, I mean, even the things that are a little bit heavy-handed, like after you already kind of know the twists and stuff, when you start seeing things, you're like, okay, that was a little heavy-handed that they threw that in there. Some little lines here and there, but at the same time, it just comes together so well, and it really is a fun movie. I'll get a lot more into it in Shag Snag Body Bag, but Nolan, I'm showing up for all Nolan's movies, just like Nick was saying. I mean,
100%.
it's just, you got to see his movies. Always got something interesting going on. The time stuff, always interesting. And I loved it, and my kids love it. So I've watched it now twice. My son, when he found out we're watching Prestige, he's like, "Oh, we got to watch it again, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's watch it again."
That's awesome.
And he was all stoked to talk about it after watching it for the second time.
Nice.
So
when you watch it for the second time, like you said, like, there's a lot of stuff where you're like, oh, they're giving it away. Like they're totally serving it up here.
So
Well, I forgot about the opening scene even. Like the opening scene, I forgot how like pretty much they just throw everything out in the opening scene at you, and you're just like, if you don't know what's going on, and I mean, obviously we can talk to Scotch about that, but it's just like they pretty much almost spoil the movie.
Well, no, I mean, I think that. Well, I have comments on that. So I think it's one of the themes of the movie is that like it is daring you to believe the simplest explanation, the one that you already know, and you refuse, right? I mean, this is like one of the the things he comments on, right? This is one of the sort of themes that like it's sort of like quote. There's a quote I think at some point where it says that, and it's like there's these things throughout the movie where they tell you the solution over and over again. They show you the solution, and if you see it the first time, you just refuse. You just and the twist in some way. I mean, there's obviously other twists, and what I was going to ask is like, are we just going to blow this shit up? I mean, we should just tell people, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
At this
Spoiler
point,
alert.
If you have not seen The Prestige and you want to see it, which you should, pause the pod right now and go look at. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It should be for a while. Go rent it if it's not.
Buy it.
Watch it. Spend the next 2 hours and 10 minutes watching it, and come back to the pod because we don't want to.
100%.
We will spoil.
This
it
is a
for you
movie
in the
I would
next-
be disappointed if you hadn't seen it and you got spoiled.
Yeah, so-
And don't read the wiki first.
Yeah,
go
right
watch
now.
it.
Just go right now and then come back to the pod because you should watch it a little bit unadulterated because I'm going to spoil it for you right now. So I think the twist at the end, which I have and I want to say a lot more about later, where in the end like it's finally not the magic trick, right? He's actually cloning them, which you see in the first scene, right, with the hats and the cat, and I don't entirely love that. But I will say that I love the theme that I hadn't totally thought of until you sort of made the comment. I hadn't like crystallized this idea that like, the key to magic is that it's a 2-player game here, right? Like the audience is desperate to believe that there's something like magical going on and that it's a trick and that it's not just some simple thing. And so I don't know. I love that about it. The time element of it, I want to say, is what I think is unique with Nolan, and he does play with it in different ways in different films. But in that way in particular, he demands a ton of the audience. It's because he does not cue you very much about where you're at time-wise. Nope. And it's clear that he just does not give a fuck. Like it's part of the device, and so he expects a lot of his audience.
So he doesn't screen test his movies. He has like a small group of friends that he trusts. He doesn't put it into a room with people. He has a small group of friends, and it stays there.
They were all stoned as fuck when they watched fucking when he showed them Tenet. They were like, "Yeah, it's good, Chris. Whatever."
I want to be in the room with that screen with his buddies watching Tenet. I really would love to be there.
love
Oh my
Tent,
god,
Tent, right? Tenet. I love Tent. Tent was amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, I really like the movie. It was only my second time watching it, and I will say that it is a totally different experience because when like you said, there's a lot of stuff that's heavy-handed, but on the other side of it, I didn't get any of that shit on the first watch. Like it was blown away the first time around, and the second time around, I'm like, how did I not see this? Is so obvious. He's trying to make you believe it. I mean, the guy that doesn't ever speak, that is obviously Christian Bale.
The
right?
camera never really shows. I mean, it shows him, but it's always real quick and going away from him every time he's on.
But later in the movie, you start to get better looks at him, and you still are
towards
like,
the end, yeah. But he has enough prosthetic on the nose that you're like,
it's a great, it's a great. So anyway, I really like the movie. I think I probably don't like it or Nolan quite as well as you guys, and I might even make the case that Interstellar is my more preferred movie.
That's insane.
But Prestige is it's phenomenal, and it's a great watch even on the second round for totally different reasons.
Well, that's interesting. So you're Interstellar. Nick, which one's your favorite?
I think that this takes it by a nose. I mean, Interstellar is my jam. The black holes, the space, it misses. And I remember when we did our basement tape, Interstellar, I realized, thanks to you guys, a couple of things that I missed, some body bag stuff that I haven't been able to not think about. It didn't, but Prestige. It's Prestige.
See, so mine's Inception. So we're all kind of favoring.
Dude, and I love Inception.
I read some shit on Inception, and I've watched it enough, and I never even looked at the ending or noticed a certain thing about the ending. I was reading up on it, and we can talk about it off the pod, but it's some good shit.
Yeah. So I mean, we all have our own different kind
I mean,
of.
we've all seen Memento, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not
The
to
OG.
skip over that because that shit
a
is
great movie.
fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
Did Did anybody ever see Following, his first movie? It's like about a writer that he wants to get inspired, and so he just starts following people around in London.
No.
Interesting flick.
I haven't seen Following or Insomnia. Those are the only two.
Oh, bro.
So we got a dude here though who is joining us who has not seen this flick. So
Scott. Well, you saw it for the first time last night.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean. Who saw it for the first time? That's exactly. So we're just talking about watching it for the second or third or fourth time or whatever.
Right.
What was your perspective?
Yeah, I'm very glad because Zach told me last night, don't look at anything before, and I didn't. Even the screen came up when I pulled it up on
you
Amazon.
can't read that shit.
And I instantly said, start, because I didn't want to. I was like, all right, go blind. And, I remember wanting to see this movie back when it came out.
It had a good preview, I think.
And I don't know why I didn't go see it. I think there was a couple different magic movies around that time.
There was.
The
Illusionist.
The
The Illusionist, right.
Yes.
And so I was kind of confused on which one it was. I actually really didn't even know who was in this other than Christian Bale, because I knew that was the pod that we're going to be judging later. And so I kind of went in this with completely no idea. I had no idea ScarJo was in it. I was very happy that ScarJo was in it. And like anybody, Piper Paraboot, nobody.
Fucking David Bowie.
Yeah, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And so it was a really cool experience. Like you were saying, that all the stuff at the beginning didn't even cross my mind. The minute it was off the screen, I didn't even think about the hats, didn't think about all that crap. And I really did enjoy the film. It was crazy. There's one point when I was watching it and I had to take a break, had to go take a leak or something, and I paused it, and so much shit had happened. And on the screen it said like 40 minutes and there's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've got to be shitting me.
God damn.
All this shit has already happened, and I've got all that movie left to go. It blew my mind. I was like, where the fuck is it going to go now? Because it's already gone a bunch of different places. I didn't see any of the twists, really. I knew something was funky with his buddy. But again, I started watching it about, almost towards the end. I was like, okay, who the fuck is
Right. This has got to be a bigger
There's
character.
something with it.
Something's going on.
And it was kind of like, it was obvious to me that it was somebody, but I didn't know, I didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
At one point I thought it might even be ScarJo. Like,
Yeah, right.
because there was something about the way they were shaped. I was like, is it her? Like, that'd be crazy. And so, yeah, I loved it. It was a good movie. And I had a good experience with it.
What about that last where the last reveal? After he shoots him and they start discussing like what went down, like what was that reveal like? Were you was it like jaw to the floor?
So my one, I don't want to step on other stuff later on with snag shag body bag and stuff like that.
No, go ahead.
But like just the whole the magic part of it and the cloning part of it, I didn't like that much.
I'm with
personally.
Scott. Now, this is my body.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
we will get there.
So but how they were kind of piecing it all together, and I loved like, he's reading his diary and he's like, hey, well, fuck you, and then his diary, hey, well, you're in that was great. Didn't see that shit coming. And yeah, I didn't see any. I knew he was going to do something at the end when he was getting hung, but I didn't see that coming at all as far as a double or something.
It kind of leads you to think that he's got one last trick up his sleeve when he's going to get hung.
Right.
And he's going to disappear or something,
Right.
or it's going to be another guy or something.
I even thought that because they were kind of pushing the machine at that time. I thought somehow he was going to use the machine to save him for some stupid reason. I'm sitting there going, okay, so
Hugh Jackman was going to save him?
like maybe he had to change a heart and he was going to save him or whatever, or make him appear somewhere fucked up, or so. My brain was going nuts. I had no idea what was going on the whole time.
My favorite part of the kind of the reveal of he has a twin or whatever it is all of the interplay with the wife and the whole mean it today.
So
I can tell.
I remember the first time I loved that.
I loved it.
and I don't not love it, but that bothered me more this time than I liked it. And I don't know. I'll talk more about it. I think it's that. Something about it this time because I was watching it and looking at it and it felt more painful through the whole thing.
Absolutely.
It's incredibly
because
painful. She
great.
fucking has to kill herself. It's so painful.
She's getting tormented on a day-to-day basis trying to figure out who her husband is. And there's one that's just like, fuck it, I don't care about you.
He's just fucking bipolar.
Exactly. And whereas the first time you're watching it, you don't know what's going on until the end and it just kind of washes over you and it's gone. This time, every time you see the interaction, you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, like why? It's so important to you. I mean, the character change, like Bale's, the twins' characters change because you're like, play like the long con is so important to you that you'll fuck over both these women and like your family.
The one that hit the worst is when she reveals she's pregnant, and he's like, "Oh, we should tell Fallon." Like,
yeah,
he got to experience the childbirth from his brother, his wife telling him, and it was like not.
And he didn't really give a shit.
He's the wrong guy.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
You need to be telling the other dude that because
I didn't even make that connection to him being like, "Oh, we should tell Fallon."
I caught that this time.
Yeah.
I did not. Of course, didn't catch it last time.
Yes, I mean, some of the
there's some
things like
things
that.
there that hurt a lot more watching this time. It's funny because it is a totally different experience, and it's not necessarily in a bad way, but just your whole perspective changes and you enjoy the movie in sort of different.
Yeah, Scott, give it a time and then watch it again. It's really it's
I was just about to say, like, on my first watch last night, that whole thing with, I just thought that he literally was all about magic one day, and like I didn't pick up on anything about that at all until that reveal at the end. That's when you're like, holy shit! There's two different dudes switching off with the girls, and it
and then there's Michael Caine's part too. Hugh Jackman keeping the Michael Caine character in the dark, and Michael Caine's unbelievable as Michael Caine is.
Unreal, yeah.
And then you got his, which isn't as intense as the wife, but you still have Michael Caine's character that you're kind of following because he stays throughout the movie and his reaction at the end and the unveiling and. Freaking love Michael Caine.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on this? So, there's a couple questions that come up with this movie, and this is probably the time to talk about it. Hugh Jackman throughout the movie until he gets the machine. How long is that Hugh Jackman around? Oh, sorry, I'm touching the table and making noises.
You make that point, Zach. You pound that table.
So OG Jackman does the first transport, and he grabs the gun and kills the clone, right?
Yeah,
because we're assuming. So that he makes it through that one, kills that clone, right?
Yeah.
Every time he does it after that, the first time he does it after that, he dies, and it's the clone that's alive, right?
So he makes a comment, though, like, you never know whether you're going to be the guy that falls in the tank or the guy that's up on the balcony, as though, like, sometimes his mind is one or the other.
That doesn't make sense because you would be the guy in the tank.
So this is the part where it goes away from the book. The book, which this movie's based on, his essence would leave, go to the other guy, and then that body would just basically just fall, and it would be dead.
But it hits so much harder if you're literally killing yourself every single time. And I loved Kane's shit at the end where he's like, I told you a story about drowning, and it's actually fucking terrible. Yeah. And he's like, his face is kind of like, ooh. There's a lot of Hugh Jackman like, oh, I fucked up face in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that makes Tesla's machine. We obviously don't know how it works. It's cloning. It's fantasy. But at the same time, you don't know which one does he become whenever it happens. Is he the one that goes? Does he get warped? And then the new one appears, or is he appearing?
Well, it would make
this new one comes into existence.
If you're basing it off of what it looks like on stage, every time it drops down and it's kind of teleported. So that one stays on stage, drops into the water, and then a new one is created somewhere.
But if
in the theater,
I mean, so what we're thinking is that he's played it out enough in his mind that like. When he pops into existence, he knows to go out to the stage and be like,
because they're the same person.
It's the exact same person thinking the exact same things. But I think the OG Jackman dies the second time he does the trick.
Right, which is why, like him saying you don't know which one you're going to be, that one, that doesn't necessarily make sense. Yeah. You don't know if you're going to be the guy.
It's a good line. When you think about it, it's like,
I don't think he's being as literal as you guys think. I think that's just like a fucking cool catchphrase, right? That's like sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug, right? It's like the same it's the same thing, I think.
That's a great catchphrase.
So that's Mary Chapin Carpenter, bro. She's got some good jams. I think her dad may have written that. I'm not sure. Anyways, we're moving on. The second thing is that, and I think it's obvious, but the good brother that loves the wife is the one that gets hung, correct?
No.
Yes, because he cares about the daughter.
Right. That's what gave it away for me.
He says sorry for Sarah, though, when they're taking him. He says sorry to his buddy, sorry for Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's the uncle.
Oh, you think it's the other
way?
He's
walking away. He said, I'm sorry for a lot of things. I'm sorry for Sarah.
Yeah, actually, okay, maybe that. Yeah.
So you think the dick one is the one that dies, that gets hung? I thought that.
The one that's in love of ScarJo is the one that dies. I think
the thing that threw me was I thought it was the daughter. His interactions with the daughter and his indifference to the wife being pregnant led me to believe that maybe he was the one.
No, because at that point,
you're
he has to,
you've been acting like a dad for this kid.
I guess you're right.
Right now, his job is to make sure he appears like her dad because he's going to reappear to her after he's hung his
Okay.
actual dad
Right.
is the one that's going to show up.
Yeah.
Maybe
Which
I
actually
over-
makes you feel a little better.
Maybe I
mean, don't know.
overthought that. So the dick one dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
now that you guys say that, I think that's correct.
Yeah, because I remember
Interesting.
thinking that like the one that there was no match that was available, like the one that's still alive.
I think
and
that
outside
was their way
camp,
of telling
couldn't
you. Mm-hmm.
go find ScarJo and hook up with her because that's not the right pair.
I think that was Nolan's way of telling you which one was which, is him apologizing.
Yeah, that's I thought the same thing.
Interesting. I'm sorry for being such a dick and made your wife kill herself.
I'm sorry.
You can't be nice for one day,
Sorry
bro.
and stuff.
I'm sorry and stuff.
Sorry. I'm sorry about getting wasted that time and
I'm sorry
what I
and stuff.
said.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't know, man. I think that's
Are we talking to Nolan? I want to talk to Nolan?
so.
I want to
We
talk to this dude.
on Bev's Video Kingdom. We are sponsored by.
Last Call Brewing, Oakdale, California. All sorts of craft brews on tap. Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can come out to Last Call Tap Room in Oakdale, California, and drink some delicious beer while watching sports on their TVs and eating some delicious food truck food with a variety of food trucks showing up.
And drop our name. It won't get you anything, but it'll make us feel cool.
Yeah,
So,
just say, hey man,
I got
BBK, they sent us.
I got a text from a friend the other night, and she said she's like, "Yeah, I didn't even know she ever heard of the pod. I think she hasn't listened, but she has seen it on Facebook." And she was like, "Yeah, I totally name dropped you and your pod at Last Call for the first time I was there." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Did they give you anything?" No, but it was cool.
Did they look at her with a blank stare, like, "What the fuck is she talking about?"
No, I'm guessing she talked to.
Well, I got to give a
Jake.
shout out to Jake because Jake's been
Yeah,
out there
Jake's the boy,
and he's been setting things up for us and he's all stoked about this beer
Yeah.
release we're going to do. And shout out to Jake because he's a great dude and he's running the tap room down there. And
And dude, you know what? I asked Jake his top 5 movies when we were brewing because he was hanging out there, and like he had one of the most interesting set of answers.
Yeah.
Like some real cool dark horse shit that I was like,
got really into it too.
I went and
super
watched
appreciative.
Wanderlust because he brought up, and they were so like, Last Call, that's like their movie. He talks about Wanderlust, and he talked about like that special cut, which I didn't watch, but dude, we were dying again. Have you guys all seen Wanderlust?
it's so good, dude.
I probably go back to it.
Paul Rudd.
Is it Aniston?
It's Aniston
Yeah.
and Paul Rudd.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen it.
There's some great, improv Rudd in front of a mirror. It's
Yeah,
gold.
that's my favorite
Fucking
part of the
gold.
whole thing. Yeah, somebody also told me that they watched We Come Together because
They come together.
They
Yeah.
come together because
Well, Nikki did.
I watched it with, we watched that, knocked that one out.
No,
too.
someone else had watched
somebody
it
else
because
as well?
we ran and we're like that was right on point.
Oh, yeah.
Such a great movie.
So yeah, we're getting all the recommendations out. All right, so we're drinking with the director.
Drinking with the
right?
director. It looks like Nate's got a Sans Grenadine Diet Pepsi today, or
No,
is there some in there?
I put some big boy whiskey in it today.
Oh,
shit.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
Get some,
Get
bud.
some.
I'm all grows up.
He's all green.
Oh, I am. Our freaking Last Call Brewing keg is tapped, and so
'Cause it's
I'm
so delicious.
I'm drinking this little tiny brewery in the area too, the Dust Bowl taco truck. I know he's probably heard of them, but go to Last Call and get yourself a pint.
Well, Zach, if you go down to the tap room, you can just walk in and grab some 4-packs.
Ooh, I
Delicious 4-packs. I've got some of that Simple Chaos, a nice little
I
hazy
really
that
like
Walter
Simple
created.
Chaos.
This is what we were drinking actually while we were brewing our beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even like beer, and I like that.
And so I got my Simple Chaos. And actually, it's funny because Simple Chaos, I have right now in my fridge. I have some from Dying Breed, which is another brewery in Oakdale. But for the last 2 49ers games, I've drinking the same 3 beers. I started off with the Dying Breed and then went to 2 Simple Chaos. And so I have that sitting in my fridge. Now, this is coming out on Tuesday, so maybe the Niners beat the Packers. I'm hoping.
We don't know yet.
But I have my beer set up to drink the same ones for the entire game because it worked for the Rams game and it worked for the Cowboys game. So.
That checks out too.
And Walter, I'm sorry
Definitely the
if the
reason.
Niners beat the Packers. You had a good season.
I'm not sorry, Walter.
I'm not sorry.
But then again, maybe the Packers are moving on right now. The Niners are licking their wounds.
and if
but-
that's true, then we will not be there on Friday.
What are you on that taco truck over
Yeah,
there?
I'm on
Tim?
that Zach. That same
and
same
Dust-
as Zach. Taco Bowl.
Taco Bowl.
Taco Bowl.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's really the healthy version of the taco.
Yeah, you don't want all those empty carbs.
Well, Scott, what are you drinking over there?
Same thing.
Everybody's on the Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl's great too. I'll bet they'd come. We
They
gotta
are
get Dust
great.
Bowl on someday. But
I mean, we could definitely get them as a sponsor. They're so small, but you know,
Dust Bowl Brewing's great. They're right around the corner here in Turlock. So
And they have locations in Monterey as well as Elk Grove.
yeah, they're cool.
I only say that because the place is fucking huge. We were just there the other day, and they have a delicious bacon cheeseburger. So
They also-
I do not want to talk shit.
Their fried cheese curds are the deal too. Squeakers.
The Hilmar cheese squeakers.
I'll eat like I legit will just order like 4 orders for myself.
So I learned something new about those.
what do you guys want?
I always thought it was the same cheese, but it's actually whatever cheese curds they get in. So sometimes it's got the little jalapeno going.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the cheddar. Sometimes it's like the Colby. I didn't realize that it
I did
switches.
not know that.
They mix it right up on you.
Sometimes, yeah, it comes out with different types of cheese. So.
Respect.
See, that's not a good thing because my brother's allergic to Swiss and only Swiss cheese.
I don't
He's
think
not
they do
allergic
squeakers.
to anything else.
I don't
But
think they would do the Swiss.
It's the holes in the Swiss cheese. It's taking away. It's less cheese.
It's like cheese Russian roulette with your brother. You're just like, I'm gonna okay. There's 6 there.
Hey, I
Too
mean,
much oxygen getting into that cheese.
if you're gonna risk life and limb for something, I mean, fried cheese is like I could think
true.
of
It's
way
squeakers.
worse.
It's not a wrong choice.
right.
So we're gonna sit down. Everybody's got their beers. Christopher Nolan, he
Has
looks
his
like
tea drinker.
is that what he? Yeah, he's British. So Christopher Nolan's from Britain. He did that movie. He did a short that got some play, and then he kind of came up and did that movie The Following, and followed that up with Memento, which we kind of talked about earlier. I don't know if we want to talk about that further, but I think it's fucking amazing.
Talk about it, bro.
I mean,
Your
I
sock
just
stuff.
I think that movie is the timeline. Playing with the timeline in that movie is like masterful to me.
For people that haven't seen it, the timeline is told backwards.
They start at the end of the movie and go to the
The
beginning.
main character is someone who has lost his short-term memory, and it's kind of telling the story, literally, backwards, and you're trying to piece it together.
I'll say it's got one of the scenes. It's got a scene in the movie, and I won't spoil it too much, but it's just like I don't think I've ever been more angry at a character in a movie than maybe Memento when Carrie-Anne Moss,
Oh yeah.
when she basically like fakes the abuse,
Oh my god.
and then she's just looking at him, and he's trying to write shit down. He can't find a pen, and she's just like looking at him,
She sits down and just like
waits.
talking shit.
and then she comes walking back in all hurt, and is like, oh, and it's just like, oh, it's so
I've
fucking
forgotten about that
infuriating. Just
Why Trinity?
It makes me want to watch that again.
I know Trinity's
Fucking
supposed to be
Trinity.
nice.
Why Trinity?
So he goes from there and just kind of takes off. He makes Insomnia and then gets right into
Batman Begins.
being Batman. Yeah, exactly. And makes some of the kind of genre defining Batman, depending on who you talk to. I don't think anybody argues that those aren't the best Batman movies.
The best superhero. People will argue that they're the best superhero.
People will
movies
say
ever
that
made.
Dark Knight's the best movie, period, not even keeping it to superheroes. I don't agree, but I don't hate them. I mean, they're great. I think the first one where he goes and like kind of learns the martial arts in the hills, I love that shit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
See, I love the last one because I like Bane, our boy Tom Hardy.
Dark Knight as a movie, is an amazing movie on its own, hands down. Top 10. I don't know about that, but amazing movie.
I mean, the first question I would ask the dude is like, well, first of all, I don't want to go there yet. Batman, in the middle of Batman, he's just like, oh, hang on a second, I'm going to make the Prestige really quick.
It's such a random thing. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
let me just do
He's
Prestige
like, hey,
real
Christian,
quick.
you want to do this movie?
He was writing for 5 years, and then so he was in the middle of it. And then Batman comes along. He's just working on it around projects.
That's fucking wild, right? And then just the kind of the ambition of the movie Prestige, I think, is just the way that it's edited. Like Nate said, they're not spoon feeding a lot of it to you. I think as far as the timeline goes,
Yeah.
it's switching timelines, and it's not like people are dressed differently or really much different from back and forth. And you really got to pay attention.
146 time jumps.
Yeah, that's fucking
Holy
crazy.
shit. And a lot of that, especially early in the movie when you get some jumps like to the Tesla stuff, I mean, you're really with Jackman, you're just like, I don't know where we're at. Like, I don't know, where are we? When are we? Who are we?
I was so confused. Like the first 20 minutes, easy. Like I just had no fucking clue what was going on as far as the timeline. And
Yeah, it kind of just tumbles you down the hill for a while.
yeah.
So I came late to the Nolan party, and not in the sense that I missed all the stuff. So like Memento, I saw right when it came out. I owned the DVD almost immediately, and I loved it. Literally didn't know who the director was. Like I didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff
Yep.
back then. And so then like the Prestige, because of the illusionist, like Scott said earlier, I just was like, oh, there's two movies about competing magicians. They both sound stupid. I'll watch either one.
I basically did the same exact thing.
And also, I'll
on my
say,
body bag.
I fucking hate period dramas, dude.
Really?
Oh man,
It's
that's
an interesting take.
really not my jam at all.
Man,
Which is
you're going to hate a bunch of Christian Bale movies when we draft.
yeah, well, I do. I really dislike the Gangs of New York for this reason, because I can't like get
One of
into
my
that.
favorites.
It's a hot take.
And so for me, the Prestige, overcomes that, but it took me a minute. Even this time around, I was like, oh yeah, god damn it, I got to figure out what they're saying again and what the accent's all about. So
Fucking English.
freaking speak English.
Interesting thing in the book, ScarJo's character is American, but then they decided to hire an American actress and make her be
course.
British,
Why
which
not?
was just kind of random.
Which she fucking kills it at.
She does a good job.
I think she's amazing.
So I think I figured out like who Nolan was probably late in the Batman run, and I still didn't see Interstellar because I was like, there was that and Gravity at the same time, around the same time, and I was like, two fucking weird
Gravity
movies.
came out
with
before Interstellar.
two weird movies in space. I'm not gonna watch either one. So it's like a theme with Nolan. So but then I kind of came around. I watched Dunkirk in theaters. I really liked it. I didn't love it. These guys made me watch Interstellar, and I was like just blown away. I mean, I had no idea what I was in for, and just completely blown away by it. And then I had seen The Prestige, but didn't realize it was Nolan, because again at the time, but I didn't even see that. I had come around to that maybe 4 or 5 years later. So for me, like I really like Nolan, and I think I don't think I like him as much as The Table, but I will say, and we talked a little bit about this last week in a totally different way. Although there's a little bit of overlap, right? But like Kevin Smith and Tarantino, right, where we would talk about Dogman earlier, we have a Pulp Fiction pod, which is great. They have these really unique styles that run through their movies, and they're elements that you just can count on, and they're like unapologetic about having that like strand through them. Nolan in almost a totally different way, except for the fact that they play with time, which I would say is maybe growing as a mark of like one of the great devices for directors. If you're going to be really good, you got to be good at time. But I would say like Nolan has this thing that he does, and he just does it so well that you don't ever get tired of it, because he can apply it in so many places. And every one of his movies has some of these elements to them, and I'm all in on him now. I mean, I definitely will see everything that he ever puts out, I think, at this point.
So my conversation for Nolan's going to start with so outside of the cloning device, which we're going to get to later, because I have some issues with the cloning device. But I think my second thing that I really just can't really take, and it really noticed it this time watching it. I don't think I even noticed it the first couple times I watched it. The fact that Fallon is captured, he has all this prosthetics on. You don't think as they're like getting him ready to bury him and put him in a coffin and do all this shit, like that they're not going to just all of a sudden something's going to come off, or the beard's going to come off, or get askew or something, and they're going to realize, oh shit. That part really kind of stuck out to me. Like, they go through all this trouble to capture him and do all this shit. I mean, maybe they tortured him a little bit. They're not going to figure out that, oh, that's a fake beard.
We're going to start slowly pull your mustache. It's going to hurt real bad.
Good, bro.
So that part just kind of stood out to me as one of those things that, I would hope that he would kind of address. Like, what you think they wouldn't have noticed?
That'd be fucked up if it's all he's missing like 2 fingernails. Like, Jesus. Syriana. Got it.
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Oh, jeez. I was wondering if we were going to get a JPP reference.
Zach,
Hell of a football player.
Zach sneakily, like super quietly, like stepped away from the table, put his headphones down, went and took a piss, got a beer, but just sprinted recklessly back to the table to make a Jason Pierre-Paul joke. He's like, oh, I don't give a shit. Here we go.
This is the second Jason Pierre-Paul reference I've made on the pod. The other one was during my Sex Panther commercial. I said that Sex Panther smells
what it
like
smells
Jason
like.
Pierre-Paul's knuckles.
Oh, hell of a football player.
Nick, I know that you've got all the questions for Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I'm geeking out just like our Godfather pod. So give me a second. I'm like a little schoolboy.
I'll give you a second, because I want to ask a question, not to exactly body bag, because this is sort of body bag adjacent with but one of the things that I would say bugged me, but I would want to ask, I would want to give Nolan a chance to defend, is the Tesla character seems to interact in a way that I found not believable, and that's part of what led me to, I think, eventually not like the thing being real, the device being real, because I kept expecting Tesla to be part of the trick, because his character seems like he's indulging Hugh Jackman too much. Like, what is Tesla thinking? He's like, oh, I'll take all your money and I'll build this thing that's like obviously groundbreaking science that would be worth however much, infinity dollars, and
he's a businessman.
Everyone would be like, holy fuck. Like, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's no amount of money that Jackman could pay him to substitute for the notoriety combined with what money he would make. And so
that's the point, though, right? Is that they're not allowing Tesla's technology to get out. What's his name? Franklin's guys.
No, Edison.
Edison's guys are in there. They fucking burn the whole place down. They're not going to let him release the stuff. He says, David Bowie says, right? Like, he's like, they're not ready for this shit, or, it's just too much.
At the same time, though, I see what Nate's saying. That's like, if basically Tesla has his own feud with Edison, and he's going to do whatever he can to show Edison that, fuck you, look what I can do.
Right.
Because they were just arguing about the different currents, the AC or DC or whatever. And it's like, now he's got a thing that can clone some shit. You don't think he's going to want to get that out in the world and be like, fuck you, Edison, I can clone shit.
Yeah.
But they pitch him like an artist, though. They pitch him like a scientist artist who doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
And really, businessman at the end of it, because he's doing it for the money. He has his issues with it, but at the end of the day, he's like, I want to pay you.
He has no money, right? He's broke.
From Project
Tesla.
Tesla's broke.
Is that what he's supposed to?
Tesla's broke, and that's why he's there.
Colorado Springs.
He's in Colorado
He says,
Springs.
you're my last backer, or basically is what he said.
And so he's just taking Jackman's money. It probably cost him $2,000 to make the freaking thing, but he charged him $2 million or whatever.
He said, you're my last financier or whatever.
And he still tries to talk him out of it. He would rather try to not, but at the end of the day, he's got to take the money.
But he's a magician, and at the end of the day, that bothers me that he just happens. I mean, not a magician, but like a legit wizard. Like,
and I'm willing to accept if Nick, you want to play the role of Nolan. Like, I'm willing to accept your explanation, but I guess I would just simply say it didn't resonate for me without explanation. Like, I really needed some more closure
from him.
He needs to be like, dude, Edison is fucking with me this bad. Like, I'm gonna get this to you, but you can't let anybody know that it got to you.
So sometimes, like, elements and people and characters like that are almost like floating through, almost like a ghost or a mystic, in a sense that what better movie obviously than this movie to have a character like that's floating. He drives the story forward. He gives just enough. It's Bowie, it's Tesla. You're not sure, is this going to go full sci-fi at that moment in the movie? You still don't know when you watch it for the first time, like Scotch Watch. You don't know, is this going to be full sci-fi? Is there something to this that we're not missing? And he just kind of comes in, floats, the name, that he can do these things. Can he do that? Are they going to take it there? And then he's gone, because then you need to carry through with Nolan's. There's not enough. There's too much in a Nolan story to then all of a sudden follow along the Tesla character.
So this is bringing up something to me, what Nate was saying. So he goes there because Bale gives him the thing
just
that says Tesla, right? And he says, go to blah, 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 right?
It just says Colorado Springs, or does it say Colorado, or does it say Tesla?
It just says Tesla.
Just said Tesla. That was the only.
So he finds out where Tesla is.
Right.
They go on this trip to Colorado Springs. He shows up to Colorado Springs. He goes there and says, you built this for this man. But wasn't he just there because Bale was fucking with him? How would he know what he wanted?
Yeah,
he said, you built this for this man?
But wait, doesn't Christian Bale now have the two little things that are making like electric between the doors? Now he has that in his act.
I don't think so.
I don't think he does, right? Bale doesn't have the electricity.
Either way, right? Whether or not he does, it's clear that Tesla didn't actually build anything for Bale, because Bale has no idea that there's that the cloning is possible. So it turns out that Tesla can build this thing that happens to work really well as the transporting man.
That's a big unanswered. Right?
Does Tesla already have kind of an idea about this technology, or
presumably
you know what I mean?
He does, but why would Bale know?
Exactly.
It's a living Deus ex machina, and that kind of bothers me. Like the whole it's just going to be something random that comes in the plot that just kind of carries it forward for.
Yeah,
that's my big
well, and this is why I'm going to save this for alternate endings, but my body bag and my alternate endings I think are together, right? This is this whole thing is.
I got a question for. Are you going? Are you got some? Are you ready for Nolan?
You can get in Nolan just like, but just like they have the safety axes like to break open those
and
glass.
they didn't fucking work.
and on 2 different occasions they
Oh,
don't
this is not
work
an axe?
at all. Like,
We gotta
what's the point
rethink
of having
this
the
axe.
axe?
At one point, the what's his name, Michael Caine or whatever. It looks like he's like hitting
Hitting it on
the
the
glass
side.
with the side of the
I
axe.
know.
It's like, are you trying to let her drown, bro?
Well, her face is up against it,
I
so
know.
maybe he doesn't want
He's
to
gonna
hack into it.
stab right through the glass to her face.
My biggest problem was, why the fuck is Michael Caine swinging it? Why don't you give it to Hugh Jackman?
Right.
Or fucking,
So jacked.
yeah.
Jackman's got like a 12 pack.
Get Wolverine to swing those obliques.
Those are Victorian.
You know what I mean?
Those are Victorian abs. You know what I mean?
But it happens twice, because then when Christian Bale actually tries to save him, like he's using the axe and not getting through that.
It's no go.
Do you guys think are the blind stagehands clones? They are, right? You think those are different dudes, or is it all the same
interesting.
dude? I thought when I watched it this time, I was like, oh, it's all the same blind guy, but maybe I'm wrong.
Did they look? They were.
I thought there was 2 of them, and
I thought so, too.
and I did think it was kind of weird at first. I was like, oh shit, wait, those guys
At the
are
very
same
beginning,
guy.
when he walks down, he's like, "Oh, blind
Yeah.
stagehands." I saw the 2 guys, and I think that they're clones. And then another guy kind of comes out in the background, and I'm like, "Oh shit, are they all like?" He's got an army of blind fucking stagehands.
I mean, if he was really
would be cool.
ruthless, he could just have regular stagehands and then kill him at the end of the night, like clone him or whatever.
I mean, if he was really ruthless, he could have like 57 Scarlett Johanssons. But that's
Actually, I guess he doesn't want anybody to know about the cloning.
that's a
device,
different
so,
movie.
Yeah. Is that the porn version?
I'm not objectifying women anymore.
Oh yeah, he's actually catching some.
The
fun.
prestige.
The Puss Siege.
I like that.
Oh no, I'm terrible.
There we go.
We're headed off the road. I wonder what Nolan thinks about that retitling.
The Puss Siege.
The Prestige.
He likes a good title. He's a single word title kind of guy.
I want to know what he's going to do next.
So that's where I was going to talk
Yeah.
about. So so Oppenheimer. It's called Oppenheimer. About he's considered the father of the atomic bomb.
Right.
And that's what he has on his IMDb in pre-production. And something I was thinking about with Nolan is the only movie that he has tackled a nonfiction story is Dunkirk. Something, that, like a part of history that actually has happened. Obviously, original screenplay and everything from him, but it's based on history. And so for him to tackle this, the thing with Nolan is I'm curious if he's ever going to tackle a plot that is a little less, like a storyline that's a little less simple, and just let his devices and the way that he makes movies just roll. Because the idea of Dunkirk is fairly simple. You have, these soldiers that are stranded on this beach at the end of World War II. How does Christopher Nolan approach that? We saw how he approached that. So I cannot wait to see his approach to a movie like Oppenheimer and how he kind of tackles that.
It's too easy for it to just be a countdown to when the bomb goes off, right? Is that too easy?
I mean,
Oppenheimer
immediate thought.
was very conflicted. Obviously, after creating something that once it's dropped on Japan, it's just like you created something that caused mass death. So it's very conflicted, dude. But check out this cast: Florence Pugh,
Oh God, she's awesome.
Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Rami Malek, Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett coming out of
Interesting.
nowhere to jump in.
Who
He's
is
been gone for a while.
Who was in the middle there? Who were
Robert
the
Downey,
Rami Malek and Robert Downey Jr.
Matt
before that?
Damon.
Matt Damon,
Matt Damon,
and
Emily
Emily
Blunt.
Blunt, dude. I mean, that's a crazy cast.
that's insane. I really like Florence Pugh too.
Well, and Cillian Murphy's been a long time Nolan guy. He's been in
He
a
was
lot
in
of
the
Batman
Batman,
stuff. So
so-
he's Inception. He's been in a lot of stuff.
And also to be curious,
he was
about
in Dunkirk as well. So
his approaching time, right, as a theme. How does he approach time? Is it Oppenheimer or
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Oppenheimer? How does he approach Oppenheimer with the theme of time woven in there? I can't wait. So I would just talk to him. I'd see what he could give me some inside scoop.
Fucking wild. What else you got, Nick? What else are we working with for Nolan? Because my main thing is I want to be like, why was Katie Holmes in Batman Begins and then not in they replaced her with like Maggie Gyllenhaal or something, right?
You know what?
Which I know you're just totally into, but I mean,
I got no complaints about either of those.
it's probably Tom Cruise's fault somehow, right?
I would assume.
I would blame
let's blame
Cruise.
Tom.
When all else fails, blame Tom Cruise.
All right.
No, I was just with Brad as far as, and we can talk about it when we get later on as far as the clone situation. So we can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, shit. I feel like we've got to talk to him about Inception. I don't know. I mean, Nate, I think is down on
talk about
Inception.
it.
Are you
Yeah,
down on Inception?
So I saw Inception. Well, I've seen it 1.5 times.
Oh my God.
And the first time I saw it, I liked it. I remember liking it, but I also remember feeling a little bit much more confused by it, and like had a harder time kind of wrapping it up. And then the second time, I just couldn't get into it again. Like, I don't know why. And it was a long time later. I mean,
were you watching it in chapters?
Oh yeah, no, I was on like chapter 4 of 10. No, I mean, I admit that like I needed to sit down with a more clearer head. I was probably on sleep deprived too. I was probably trying to watch in the middle of the night or something. But I you know, so I guess though, what I would say about it is there are elements of it that I definitely recognize I like. I just don't think so. And this is, I think, the criticism of Tenet, which I have not seen, but I've heard a lot, which is Nolan walks on the edge, like he teeters on the edge of things that are I mean, we talked about this earlier in terms of time, but like he teeters on the edge of asking too much of his audience
100%.
In terms of like interpreting things the way he is interpreting them, and thus everything making sense. And I think some of the answers to the problems we have with Prestige, if you take the answer that is the charitable answer and you say, oh well, yeah, okay, if I follow it that line of logic, then you know this all checks out, it makes sense, it fits. But the expectation that I'm going to follow that line of logic, right, as the viewer, I think works better in some movies than others. And I think Inception's kind of in the middle of that pack. Whereas I assume Tenet is really not, you know, really on one far end. And I think Dunkirk, you know, is a little bit simpler in this way because there isn't so much of that. You know, he's not asking quite so much of that. But like, I think Prestige does a pretty darn good job of it. I think Interstellar does a really good job of it. So I think that's for me where Inception falls kind of right in the middle on this. It's really enjoyable, but you're is expecting you to see things exactly the way he wants you to see them.
I hate to say it like because it sounds super douchey, but it's like I feel like Inception is one of those movies that, and not that it's super like amazing or deep or anything, but I feel like once you kind of get it, like once you kind of get into like this level of dream, this level of dream, this level of dream, this how much time you have and how time passes in each of those, and once you kind of like get all that together and you watch it like for like the second or third time, it really becomes enjoyable when you kind of just like, you don't have to be thinking too much. You're not like, you're just, you can just enjoy the acting. You can enjoy the performances.
The storyline with DiCaprio and his wife and that whole thing is what makes that movie for me. It's
yes. I mean, once you can just focus on that. And like I said, the performance, I think just great performances across the board from pretty much everybody in it. So
can we just ruin it really quick for everyone?
No,
Inception, since we're talking about it.
Well, that's what we do.
Can we talk about the ending really
quick? If
quick?
you haven't seen Inception,
go watch it. It's fucking great.
Pause it
the pod. Go. I don't know where Inception is, but go
took me 8 hours to listen to the fucking Prestige pod.
I had to watch 7 movies before they let me finish the pod.
But the ending. So I never realized he spins. I don't know why I never realized it. He spins the
you don't know
the thing, and he walks away. Up until that point, he has had to stay there and stare at it because it was his number one focus to see it. Does it fall? Does it not? He spins it and walks away.
He didn't care.
So it represents two things exactly. He doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
And B, the camera cuts before it falls. It just wobbles very slightly before it falls.
It leads us to be on.
You don't know if it's going to fall or not.
And they talked about the kids and that they look very similar in age. You think that they're maybe wearing the same thing. And somebody referenced that in like their credits in IMDb, they're listed as two different little young kid actors and actresses. So whatever month old so-and-so and Philippa, and then 3-year-old Philippa, and then the boy, and then 3-year-old. So they're saying in that would say that they were actually the real kids, that they had aged 2 to 3 years, 4 years, however long he had been gone. But the fact that he walked away, that was something that I actually had never really thought about to notice, which makes actually a really big difference. I don't know if it's in a good way or it's in more of a positive way, because at that point it doesn't matter to him because he's where he wants to be and he'll stay there forever. What's
real is just what's ever real to you, right? So if he found a spot that he likes, he's just like, fuck it, this is the spot and I don't need to wake up.
Right. Fuck, that made me like that movie more.
It's such a good, not even
kidding.
A good movie.
It's so fucking good, dude.
Nick just is
because I got to a point with that movie where I was where Brad was. I had seen it. I bought that movie. That one went in the garage sale, and I was happy. I was fine with that one.
You like Nolan, but not that much.
You're giving away
I watched
gems.
it a lot. I watched him a lot.
So I got another question for the group or for everybody here. So is Nolan the ultimate like rewatch director? Like the ultimate where you watch it the first time? I think so. I think when you watch we listed off his movies besides Dunkirk, and which is my least favorite Nolan by far, almost all of them play with time and editing and do all of these things so well, almost too well sometimes, to where it's hard to follow. And I think that maybe it's not as enjoyable of an experience the second time through, but I think at least I feel compelled to rewatch, to be like, all right, what did I miss here? Like, what is going on? We're talking about stuff I've seen Prestige 6 times, and we're talking about stuff that I didn't even notice, like him saying, like, let's go tell the brother that you're pregnant. I didn't even catch on to that. Like, I don't know. Who is another director or another filmmaker or another something that
Scorsese.
you think so?
Tarantino.
Spielberg.
Yeah.
If you're talking about rewatch,
Did you want any more, Zach? Or did you want to say anything else that was just ludicrous?
I mean, once I saw
every
every Scorsese movie I've seen, except for the one that's very Nolan-esque, which is Shutter Island, which I love, that not everybody loves. I don't feel compelled to go back and rewatch.
I mean, I think Scorsese is a bit of a mixed bag for me. Like, I'm not saying I love every Scorsese movie, but the ones I love, I mean, Departed.
I love Departed.
But Tenet was the first movie that I watched of Nolan's where I was like, I was like, I don't even know if I watch this again if it's going to make any more sense. I kind of liked it, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to make any much. It's not going to help me to watch it again. I don't think.
What Tenet was for me was the first Nolan movie where I was like, I don't even want to rewatch it. Like, I'm over it.
100% with you, Zach.
I want to rewatch it, but I just don't know if I'll actually sit down and watch it.
Scotch was gonna.
I was just gonna ask, like, you said, is this the most rewatchable
director?
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on what you mean by. Do you mean by I didn't understand what the fuck just happened, I need to rewatch it, or
I think
want to rewatch it because it's so enjoyable?
I think I really
like the challenge, like people enjoying that challenge, that there's more to dive into. I mean, I dig that with Zach. I know where he's coming from there, and that's pretty unique. And to do what he does, movie one after the other, every single time, he throws so much, like Nate's saying, at people, and they go back 2-3 times, the majority. And so I mean, you can make the argument that Nolan is, but like, as far as rewatchability, the scope from drama,
and now
comedy,
what I do not mean here is I want to watch this movie over and over and over again.
Okay.
What I mean is that I immediately want to rewatch it so that because A, I really enjoyed it, and B, I'm not quite sure what exactly was going on.
Like
does that make sense?
Like 12 Monkeys back in the day, like that movie.
Totally.
I came out of
which
the
I
theater,
love.
I came out of the theater going, okay, what?
What the fuck did I just watch?
Tarantino's up there, because you leave a Tarantino and you're like, I missed so much amazing dialogue. Like, I have to know what they said in that conversation. I missed that scene. Like, he said some funny shit, in the first, half hour. So, I mean, he's up there too.
I mean, that I'm a rom-com guy. So, like, if I'm talking rewatchability for me, right, it's going to be somebody like Nancy Meyers or Nora Ephron. So I love those movies. And
I wish I had a crickets button.
I was going to say who?
Everybody's just like,
what?
The crickets.
Our audience knows.
Scott, you heard of these guys?
Our audience knows.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, and then there's classic 80s directors that
do romantic comedies, like, outside of enjoyment, do they need the rewatch on, like, oh wow, I need to go back and like
did I get all
again?
of that?
But you're defining I mean, you're it's a totally narrower category. You're saying I want to rewatch this because I feel like I missed stuff. That's a particular.
That's what Zach was just saying.
I understand, but I'm just saying, like,
enjoyed it enough to go back and
exactly.
rewatch it.
I really liked that.
Right.
Yeah.
I want more. I want to see like all the different layers. Like if Scott watched it again right now, he would be like, "Oh shit!" Like they're okay, all right, oh yeah, okay, I see this all now.
Because Zach said it in Tenet, he did not enjoy the movie and has me and Zach have zero, effort to go and rewatch that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I guess I'm just saying, different experience. You want to. I guess what I'm saying is, like, when you want to go back and rewatch a movie, there's something you want to feel again or do again intellectually that is drawing you back. And I think it's obviously not the same for all directors. If you want to talk about it as like, you miss some things, you feel like you can like get deeper in it, you can find more details. Yeah, like Nolan, Tarantino. But for me, right, like a lot of my experience with movies is like I want to not only experience some of the same feelings again, but especially where I watch a movie over a lot of years, I want to I really, really enjoy realizing that I relate differently to different characters in movies or differently to different situations in movies. And so for me, like some of those where like they're either comedies or romantic comedies that I watched for the first time 25 years ago, when I was a kid. Like I have a completely different experience now with those movies.
Cameron Crowe, right? I mean,
Cameron Crowe's a great one, yeah. And that's, again, there's some real misses there, but man, the ones that are good are incredible. And he has one, Vanilla Sky, that probably is sort of the Nolan-esque.
And that's 100% a movie, and that's the same feel that I get. They play with time. They do a lot of different stuff in Vanilla Sky, and they do it well, in my opinion. A lot of people hate it, but those people are
I'm
stupid.
with Zach. I love it.
But yeah, what they're doing in that movie is something that compels me to go back and want to watch it again and catch stuff. And that's kind of what I mean by Nolan, because all of his movies have kind of that thing. Even Dunkirk a little bit. I mean, I like the
for sure. Dunkirk.
It does.
I like the device in Dunkirk where it all ends at the same time, but time's kind of moving differently.
Yeah. Things are not.
You'll see something that's happened already. And
From a
then
different
all of a sudden,
angle.
then you'll jump into that scene and see how it got to that spot.
Which is cool, and I liked that about that movie. I guess I'm just not big on World War II. I think that's like your thing, right?
That can
Brad?
be
Are
a
you a
thing.
World War II guy?
I mean, I like a lot of different World War
I mean,
movies.
for batting average, for sure, Nolan or Tarantino has to be it, right? In this game, and maybe even across all genres.
Spielberg, Tarantino. Spielberg has to be in that as far as rewatchable.
Minority Report, I was like, I definitely wanted to see that immediately after I
But
watched
you're
it.
talking about all the Indiana Jones movies. You're talking about, E.T. You're talking about some of the classics of our childhood as far as, and maybe they're not as rewatchable now. Indiana Jones, I feel like, still is.
And some of those are great movies, but are they all great movies?
I'm not saying great movie. I'm saying rewatchable.
But now we're
yeah.
Well,
We're
this
having
is
two different conversations.
but it's also a little different thing in an interesting way, right? Because like Tarantino and Nolan have both made the choice to have a very discreet, slow roll career, right? Like they've had a dozen movies.
I think like 11.
Yeah, so like these guys are like, they're picking carefully, they're really working on it, they're not trying to like, and even though they have some especially Nolan has like different kind of things they're doing, but I think that whereas like Spielberg's amazing, but the batting average isn't as good. There's some stinkers.
Spielberg's got some big stinkers.
I hated Bridge of Spies,
big, ugly
for
dookies.
example, which some people liked, and I was just like, this is just horrific, right? Terrible.
I feel like Nolan knows what he does, and he does it almost every time, and it works. Yeah. And he's refining it. I think he's gonna miss, and even his misses like Tenet are not. I mean, it's not the worst movie I ever saw.
But they're big. They're big misses because you're
so excited. That's why.
And he's gonna put everything that he has into every single movie, and that's what comes off on the screen.
Because it's almost like
you're like, this.
You
guy
could have
did
been
not
working on something
half-ass
else.
Well, no, but it was great acting. It was beautifully filmed. The sound was amazing.
The visuals were unbelievable.
The story just missed.
The guy from Ballers, I really liked in Ballers, and I did not like him in Tenet at all.
Denzel's son. Oh, I liked him in Tenet.
He's been in two movies that I'm like, he's terrible. And I mean, not terrible. He's not good. He's not Denzel. But in Ballers, he's great and real charismatic and really great acting. And then for some reason in Tenet, his decisions, I don't know. I don't know.
It was an interesting movie to like kind of make your like big kind of action debut. It was definitely an interesting one.
Or to just play it with. I mean, Nolan was like, "You better not have any fucking personality, none." I think that's what he threatened him with because he's just so bland, and I did not dig it. But anyways,
hey, Christopher Nolan, thank you for coming by.
Oh man.
Yeah, we'll leave you on
Keep
the note that we
making
hated your
movies. We will
latest
see
movie.
it.
Thanks for coming by.
We will see.
Thanks for prestige.
So
Motherfucker.
Bez Video Kingdom is brought to you by Michael Caine by Michael Caine. Hi, I'm Michael Caine. Were you looking forward to the end of the holidays, being cooped up with your kids, only to get buggered in the nethers once again because your son or daughter had a play date with a COVID kid? All you dreamed of was a long winter's nap, but instead, you stuck inside again with those little germ factories and distance learning. Mommy, I want a snack. I'm hungry. Papa, what are you and Mommy doing? Are you wrestling? All day, all night, all up in your shit, and you're about to crack. No sleep, no rest, no end. How are you supposed to get through the next day? Why not try a bit of Michael Caine by Michael Caine? Michael Caine by Michael Caine is specially formulated to give you that perfect snort of needed energy, and it'll make you talk so fucking much that your kids will be begging you for a timeout. So get yourself a bag and take a sniff of Michael Caine by Michael Caine. I'm Michael Caine.
That just reminds me of
It's
the.
unreal.
Oh my god, it's so
Such
good.
a fucking good Michael Caine.
That's like a
love
perfect
it.
Michael Caine.
All right, God, I love that Anchor commercial. What do you guys think? Is it standing the test of time? I think it's really good.
Actually, when we were brewing the beer, Nate and I started having a conversation, and Walter was standing there, like, "Oh, I thought you were just about ready to talk about Anchor."
Apparently,
I think I said something similar, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were talking about Anchor."
we're just falling right in. Sometimes we just like to do our Anchor commercial in person. just get another couple reps in.
Mid-conversation.
It's really just a test to see if you really listen to the podcast. You just like dip right into it.
What's funny is I legit don't listen, so I haven't heard the Anchor commercial since we recorded it.
Oh, I've heard it 7,000
and
times.
so like I could probably do it and not know it, and I could do the whole thing.
You said, and all of a sudden Brad finds Anchor.
I know
You say it like
so. I think that this was like I think that's what I said. All right. So are we? So where are we at?
We are about to fuck, marry, kill. We're gonna shag, snag, body bag. So here at Bev's Video Kingdom, we decided to make some categories, and the first category is gonna be shag. So what is like your favorite thing about this movie that you want to just absolutely just ravage? What do you think?
I'm gonna say twist done so damn right. I'm sorry if I'm.
Can I just jump in with double up on this one?
Oh yeah, we're gonna double up for sure. Double
Just say
up.
ditto.
Can I high five you on this one?
Oh yeah, we're gonna high five. Yeah, we're just staring. We're gonna stare at each other's eyes and high five as we do this. I think our fingers might even interlock.
This might be a 3-pot. I'll just breathe heavily over here because I might be on the same page as you guys, but just I'll breathe.
Every time one of them shows up at the other's performance, it's just like all of a sudden they're there, and like when the other one notices them, and they're just like, "Fuck!" Like they realize just instantly that some bad shit's about to go down, and I love it. Just so good. Just all these little twists. Even watching them the second and third time, it's still clever as fuck. And the diaries love it. When they get to the end, it's like, fuck you. And then he finishes on fuck you too. It's just
They should have
beautiful.
called this movie The Magician Diaries.
Oh shit! I think that's a teen drama that we need to
That's a
fucking get into
rom-com that we
production.
need to
A
address.
period teen drama.
Tonight.
2 16-year-old sexy vampires
So
that are also magicians. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to shag twists on top of twists on top of twists. So it's not. I love a twist, but I think what I really love and I want more of is movies that there aren't that many that do the twist on top of twist really well, like Brad said. That's my shag for sure.
Dude, when he shows up on stage when he's doing the his first time, he's got that cool contraption that's going to make the bird cage.
Yeah.
And Christian Bale's just standing there looking at him like, "Fuck you!" And then it breaks that girl's fingers.
It
And
jacks
she's
her
screaming.
fingers.
And so damn good.
Jacks are good too.
Yeah.
So I had Michael Caine and Christian Bale, and then you guys talking made me remember the first time I saw this movie, and what I loved most about this movie was the sci-fi twist.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I loved the most about it. I remember I would talk to people about it. I'm like, I had no idea it was going to go there. I see two warring magicians, and even when he's talking about the machine, you still don't think it's going to go there.
I think that's what Nate doesn't like about it.
Yeah, it's coming up in my body bag.
Oh, sorry.
Nate and I are holding hands this entire time. We might as well just keep our fingers interlocked
Now
right
we're
now.
doing it. Now we're doing it.
You guys act like you weren't already holding hands.
Should we switch positions before the body bag?
I would say so.
Easier to touch your cock, my dear.
The sci-fi twist. Dude, love it. I love that that Zach and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
Zach and I are holding hands as I speak.
Wait, so that's your
That's not my shag, but I just fucking love that.
Yeah.
I talked about it earlier. I love the fact that it's like, you get an hour and a half into this movie before any of the supernatural shit comes. You know what I mean? Which I love.
Yep, loved it. It worked.
Okay, so my shag is I love all the stuff you guys are talking about. I fucking love all of that. But my shag is going to be, for sure, without a doubt, David Bowie. Not because he's necessarily spectacular in this movie, but just because I love David Bowie. And I got the quickest aside. My mother, who is the awesomest, sweetest old hippie that you ever met,
and an
Huge
avid
Bev's
fan of the
Yes.
pod.
Oh yeah, exactly. She
we
loves
love you. We
Bevs.
love you, Wendy.
So my mom for a while was a professional seamstress and made a living among a lot of things that my mom has done. She for a while worked as a professional seamstress and made clothes for people. And my mom actually made a bunch of stage outfits for David Bowie.
Jesus.
Is that fucking
Really?
tight or what?
Badass.
I swear to God, she's got the
Dude.
book at home that has all
That's
the
really
pages
cool.
marked, and you can go and get the big David Bowie book that's like the big coffee table book out, and you can get it out and grab the little tabs and go to all the stuff that my mom made.
Wow.
Did she ever meet him? And
No idea. Didn't even get that far into it when she was telling these stories.
oh Jesus,
but,
you got to get into those stories.
Dude, she would be a good
Yeah,
guest
we-
actually.
Wendy, you have an open invitation.
Yeah. So
On the
that's my shag. I love David Bowie. Was just listening to him on Spotify. The coolest thing in the world, guys, is this fucking Spotify. Do you guys have this?
Sorry, you're talking about the
Excuse me, what?
Spotify, the app.
This
For
brand new app.
dude, for $8 a month or something like that, you can literally at any time, any song that you've ever thought of ever, you can just listen to
Is
immediately.
Spotify
I thought you said
sponsoring
spot,
us now?
I thought
I
you
didn't
said
know it.
spot a fly.
I think that
And also, is Spotify new?
I'm not saying it's new. I'm just saying, have you guys heard of it?
I think you're just you're giving appreciation to.
I'm confused.
You're giving appreciation to what it is.
I'm saying I was
is
just
this
telling
a
Nick.
Nolan-esque twist.
I was just telling
to
Nick
the
I was
pod?
listening to-
Did we change time dimensions?
I was just telling Nick I was listening to Bob Dylan the other day because one day I was like, man, Bob Dylan, everybody thinks he's so dope. Like I've never really listened to any of his music. I should check it out. I went and checked it out and I found some really cool stuff. Found some stuff I didn't like at all, but I've also found some stuff I really like. Same with David Bowie. He's got some jams, dude.
I got to jump back
yeah,
like 10
yeah.
years because I was using Pandora when like Pandora was
Pandora's
kinda the
shit,
first.
though.
No, but that's the thing. So I was listening to Pandora and I had a colleague who I would talk to and stuff like lunch breaks, preps and stuff like that. And she was like, "You don't use Spotify?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, Spotify, you don't have to like listen to what they can tell you.
Exactly.
You can choose what you want." I'm like, "Wait, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, check it out." And I went to Spotify and I was like, "Okay."
and it's the easiest $8 that you spend every month.
This is
right?
where I'm at forever.
And
Now,
they,
as much as Scotch Beck,
they don't pay
I
their
hate
artists.
The,
Yeah.
fact that the convenience unfortunately outweighs my feelings for like supporting artists. But I bought so many goddamn CDs in my life.
Brad, as evidenced by our Facebook jail status right now, we obviously don't respect intellectual property or any of these things. So come on, dude. This is-
Hopefully, as this pod's coming out, we're out of Facebook jail, but we shall find out.
Okay, so the next category is snag. And this is something that we want to take home to mama and say, hey, mom, quit making those clothes for David Bowie. Check out this that I brought home for you. So what are you thinking, Nick? What's your snag?
I'm gonna step on my rant at to start the pod. It's Nolan. It's the fact that that executives they come and they pitch to him that he can make big budget, but still make big budget movies that, like I said earlier, kind of turn into cult classics. Like this movie, like I put that into this category. He has a style, a lighting, like character types that aren't completely necessarily, for the most part, charismatic or flamboyant necessarily. Not mild-mannered is the right term, but there's like a class to a lot of his characters and a tone. It's hard to explain. Polished isn't even necessarily the right word, but it's just there's a tone. And I think what it has to do is what I was talking about earlier in the pod is how everything that he does, I feel like, is thought out and purposeful, like the majority of all great directors. But what I've read about Nolan is that the dude does his homework. He cares about making as many realistic props as possible that he can use and avoiding as much CGI as possible, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
And we need more Christopher Nolans as we continue to move, further and further along with streaming and getting movies out there quickly.
Maybe he should step into the Tesla contraption. We just clone all that.
Fuck,
Which is
please,
probably the
God.
only CGI in this movie, right? I mean, obviously,
I mean,
there's-
as far as this movie, I'd be curious. Well,
there's not a lot that I can
can't-
really think
no,
of.
there can't be a lot. You get into things like Interstellar, he's building models and mock-ups and miniatures. Inception, he builds the spinning room where they're flipping upside down. That's not CGI. So there's all these things. He does as much as he can. He pulls on MIT physicists to work with him on Interstellar. So all these things that he does that I feel like they show up on the screen as well thought out. He has to do that thinking because his stories are so damn complicated, and he's asking so much of the viewer. He doesn't ask him anything that he hasn't already laid out, figured out himself. So if knowing that, if you do a little research and if you're a fan, if you don't know that, then you can trust what I'm saying, because here at Bevs, we're pitching the truth to you.
Didn't he
100%?
Didn't he build a freeway for the tenant
for a tenant?
freeway
I would
scene?
not be
I'm
surprised.
pretty sure he like built a fake freeway so that he could film like uninhibited.
So for this movie, when he was creating the script with his brother, to get an idea of the world that these characters are going to inhabit in the Prestige, he built the sets in his garage just to get a sense of the world that these characters are going to be inhabit. He built the sets in
like
his
with
garage.
Legos, or what was he using?
Big ass garage, dude.
The larger Legos in his large
He used Duplos.
Duplos. in
Okay,
his
all right.
car garage.
Yeah.
But
Lego-
all like the
Legoland
monotone, like the British and the English tones, like the toned
like
down
that.
grades.
Kinda
They have
drab.
different Legos.
The drab.
They call them Duplos.
He has the Christian Nolan and the Hugh Jackman puppets, and he's like having them talk to each other.
But anyways, it's Nolan for me, and I can geek out for a while. But that's one of my guys right there.
So I want to snag a specific version, which is Nolan's use of time for sure. For me, I like Nolan in general. I don't think everything he does is quite as tight as others, but there might not be anybody that uses time in movies like as complex and yet in a way that the audience can always appreciate and forgive. I think. It's a device that, again, I'm sort of like, after talking about it and thinking about Tarantino and thinking about other places, if you're not good at using time in movies, like do you even movie?
Do you movie?
Do you even direct?
movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Love it.
All right, my snag is Michael Caine, and Nick, you mentioned him earlier. I got to give him some credit. My first question to you guys though is, what do you think on IMDb? Michael Caine's, what year was his first credit as an actor?
Fuck. You'd want to say like a long time ago, but I'll bet it was like 82.
96.
I'm gonna say like 79.
His first film credit was 1946.
Oh my God! I thought you were going the other way with it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Born in 1933. So his first film
What?
credit is at 13 years old. He's born in 1933. The dude's got...
Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah.
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 What
Oh, yeah.
the fuck?
Still cranking.
He's got 176 credits on IMDb. I was introduced to him by my dad. We watched the movie Zulu about British soldiers taking on Zulu warriors in Africa, and it's amazing. Michael Caine's amazing in it. So that was a younger Michael Caine.
So he could have really been at Dunkirk.
Yeah, no, I think he actually.
He was there.
I think the Tom Hardy character. Was
I mean, he would
That was
be-
his first
he-
movie?
He would have been about 12.
Nolan plays with timelines so good that
you're convinced.
Actually, no, he would have been about 9, 10, something like that. But anyway, so no, just amazing career and a lovely accent, legendary actor. Cars 2, Kingsman, Nolan films, Now You See Me, just all these movies that he's been in recently, the Batman movies. Just amazing. He's 93 years old. He's still making movies, and he's now, it says on his credits that he's going to be in the Now You See Me #3.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
At like 90, in 1933, let me do the quick math. Yeah, 92 years old? Wait,
yeah.
70,
90, no.
88 or 89 or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So,
his highest grossing movie is him saying the word mater a bunch of times.
Dude,
he was great. I actually really enjoyed him in Cars 2.
He was great, but I'm just
one
saying,
of the people
like,
that's
probably his
it's-
biggest movie.
I'm a non-apologist for Cars 2. I actually like Cars 2 a lot, and Michael Caine was great in it. So
Michael Caine, he's like
He's a
the
dude.
one of the most likable, but not likable where it's like, oh, that dude's like seems like sweet, but he kind of does. But there's something about him you
There's
love every moment he's on the screen.
and intelligence and like almost a little sarcasm to the way he speaks, and it's
Yes.
just it's like I said, it's very a lovely
And
accent.
the dude
It's
can
like he's
act
sweet.
his balls off.
It's like
just-
he's always sweetly disapproving.
Yeah.
like he's the one that I feel like
I dig that.
he
That's a
adds
good
something. He
description.
adds something to every single Batman movie. Just his presence makes
yeah.
it.
Well, just seeing Michael Caine on
Takes
screen,
it
you're
up a
like,
notch.
okay, this is something better now. Just
Gives some
because
credibility.
he's there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, Michael Caine, 100% snag.
What are you snagging?
I'm snagging ScarJo. Like, not even in a weird way. think
What would be a weird way?
I just think she's
Partly in a weird way.
she's great in this, and I think
She
she
is
has
really good.
she has a really good run. She's in a bunch of stuff, but she has a really good run there. Which she was in The Island, which is not a great movie, but I love her in it. And she was in Prestige. She did an Anne Boleyn movie, and then He's Just Not That Into You. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Nate,
She's
that's
actually
right
really
in your
good.
wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, I have. She's really good in it.
I think she's great, and I love it when she has the long blonde curly hair. And I just think she's spectacular.
I mean, this is an interesting. We talk about this a little more, or maybe allude to a little more with actors, right? Like, think about Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio. Kind of start out as like real heartthrob dudes, and they kind of come into their own. And maybe we talk a little bit about less with actresses, right? Because I don't know why, but like Scarlett Johansson's beautiful, right? And a lot of the reaction you have when you think about her in a movie is like, oh, she's just gorgeous and sexy and attractive, but she's a legitimately really, really good actress that I think
She can
shows
act her
up in-
ass off.
Yeah, really good.
But I think she started off as like people were like, "Damn, this girl's a good actress," and then she kind of
It
grew
is.
into being like the
that's
heart.
more beautiful. Yeah,
That's a really interesting
Yeah.
point. Yeah, that she did that way. Whereas, and I guess maybe I'm trying to think of others that fit that, a little bit. I don't know if I'm trying to think of like Jennifer Lawrence, right? Who's an incredible actress.
She did grow into it because Winter's Bone is not anything
Yeah,
near
she's
to
not
anything
sexy.
she ended up, and she
Yeah.
was nominated for that.
Yeah, that's a great call. So that's interesting. I don't know where to go with that. I haven't thought that much about it, but it's interesting to think about actresses that kind of go the two different directions.
I think she's great in Prestige specifically. I love the costumes and the hair and just the idea of being like the kind of magician's arm candy. I think that's such an interesting like part of magicianry.
and she's really not in it that much, but like is very memorable.
for sure.
That's why she's on the cover.
Yeah.
For sure. So body bagging. I'm gonna start body bagging because I said earlier I don't really have a body bag until we started this podcast, and then I'm like questioning how Tesla knew to make that fucking machine, and it's kind of pissing me off a little bit. So I'm gonna kick it over to Nate, and he's gonna tell us what his body bag is.
Well, Nate and I are going to switch positions real quick. 'Cause I think
okay.
we're getting ready
Swap-a-roo.
to jump into the same business.
Yeah. So I don't. What I would say, to be really precise, I don't like the pivot away from the theme that I mentioned at the outset, which is this like you want the simplest explanation and you resist it over and over again, and then all of a sudden like they don't give you the simplest explanation at all. It's some fucking fantastical bullshit at the end. And so like I want them, I'm going to work with this poorly in my alternate ending to try to solve this problem, but I want them to punch me with a sort of, I wanted Nolan to give me whatever was the simplest explanation for all the things that he's sort of like feeding you that you, so I want him to make you think to the very end that there's a chance that this was like a real sci-fi deal. And then I want him to just pull the rug out. I want it to be the simple trick.
So where he like falls into the floor, there's a big slide that he like goes in and like flies up, and all of a sudden he's in the rafters.
So I was
or whatever.
imagining something like that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, I was imagining that like
Triplets.
Was it like the Goonies slide?
Well, I was imagining that like there was something kind of cool and elaborate where Jackman was for sure committed to trying to commit the guy to convince him that he had murdered somebody, but he'd done it with some sort of prosthetics, or he'd over and over again like found a way to drop this like body into a tank that looked like it was dying, and then he I don't know.
Sounds
I'm
more
working-
complicated.
I'm working on it. Well, yeah, for the Nolan apologist, it would.
Well, Nate, I'm jumping right there with it because my statement is the cloning device, and I said I wish there was a way to get the same type of movie without the magic of a cloning device. Like
You just
I
don't get
want
that
in-
last twist because you think you've got the twist, right? Don't you think that you lose that if you don't have that? How do you get that last twist? You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh my God, the twist is that Bale has a twin. And then as the camera cuts away and it goes to credits, like you get that last, like, oh fuck.
Well, it's just to bring in a real person into the movie, Nicholas Tesla, to bring in Tesla into the movie as a real person, and then all of a sudden have him be a wizard. That's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a question about whether or not he's being a wizard or whether it's science. I mean, like,
Man,
talk
it's
about
not
his
Lord of
fantasy
the
and
Rings. I mean, they didn't call him a wizard. He's a scientist that created a machine.
he's Gandalf. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know how to think about what Tesla's supposed to be here. If this is just supposed to be like advanced science or whatever, but
Mystic.
I don't like it anyway. I'm body bagging that shit.
Nick, your body bag's open. What's
All
going
right,
on?
so Zach and I love the machine and the sci-fi twists, and in my fucking research, of course, I had to come across something that, like tonight, what you guys have talked about have opened my eyes to a couple of things that I'll try to forget. But
Just
okay,
memento
so
that shit.
they brought up. So why does he have to clone himself in the first place? He clones himself once. He doesn't have to murder himself at all, and then he
Right.
can just stay the twin and continue to do the exact same trip, and no one would be the wiser. He doesn't have to.
Nick, you're
continually
absolutely right. Now I have a double.
Just fucking shoot himself every single night 100 times. Doesn't have to.
Why can't they just be homies?
Doesn't have to happen.
Oh, you think he just kill himself
he has
each
to-
time? Why
no.
doesn't he just talk to the clone and be like, "Hey, bro, like this is the plan,
No,
right?"
I'm
And he's
saying-
like, "Yeah, cool."
The one time in Tesla's when he tries it out for the first time, that's the only time he duplicates himself.
The clone has all
That's,
the
I agree. That's
right,
what I'm saying.
right.
The clone has all the memories of losing his wife and all that
Right.
same stuff. So it's like they're both ready to fuck over
Right.
Christian Bale's character. They're
They could
both
team
ready.
up. They can be whatever. They can be on
So
the same
they could be the
page.
badass team. Well, I kind of get similar into that when we get to a little bit later in this pod.
I don't necessarily want to do a second body bag, but I am gonna just. I do want to call us back to something.
He just unzipped one. I just watched him do
I
it.
do want to call us back to something that I mentioned at the outset, which like I kind of talked about as though it was interesting and endearing, but I don't want to anyone to misunderstand. The fact that on the second watch, you know that like the wife is just getting fucked over by these twins who are deliberately doing these things I mean, I guess I don't know that I'm saying it's a criticism of the movie per se, because maybe that's what Nolan wants you to feel. But it definitely makes me hate the Christian Bale characters in a way that I didn't experience at all the first time. Where I'm like,
100%.
oh, you guys are terrible. Both of you are terrible for doing this. And you have blood on your hands. So I
don't think they're doing it on purpose, though, right?
Well, they're not trying to gaslight her, but they are definitely. But they're definitely knowingly like aggravating her
I
as
think
they go.
just dickhead brother.
No, but the other brother is
No,
like
they both are in
I mean, the other
together.
brother could
I
be
mean,
like, okay, you
one
know,
of
it's
them
me.
fell in
You
love
know, like
with
they
her,
could let
but-
her in on the fucking scam. Like either of the brothers could be like,
I do not
Let's
see
let her
the
in.
downside to letting her in on it, right? I mean, if
he's
she's
so
your
paranoid.
wife,
That they're so paranoid that
I think that's the point.
they're worried about somehow Danton getting to the wife and like doing all this shit.
Right.
Like
The magic is more important than even like their relationship, their love for her. And for me, that really borders on like taking away any sympathy I might possibly have for the character. And so that like maybe that's what Nolan wants, but that's definitely how I felt the second watch.
I think that all of his decisions, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, I think all of Nolan's decisions are based on someone watching it for the first time.
That's fair, but I guess still, like, you know, to play slight devil's advocate, you still, if you're someone who's really sitting around and thinking about it, might go back and have that revelation. Like, you know, Scotch earlier sort of had that thought, although maybe not as strongly. So I admit, like, again, you know, this might be Nolan's, like, maybe he realizes you're not going to have quite such a strong reaction in hindsight, but I definitely did. So anyway, so I don't want to bog us down, but
I think Zach, to answer your question, my take is that he designs it for the first reactionary moviegoer response, because at the end of the day, he's creating an experience for that moviegoer
Right.
in that moment, first time seeing it, knowing that his movies are deep enough.
But that's what
people-
makes him Christopher Nolan, right? Like
Yeah.
on rewatch, you get all these different layers
Right.
to it. Like
and I think he knows that.
Nate
He knows.
Nate had visceral reactions both times. The first time he watched it, he was like, "Oh man, I really love this." Second time he watched it, he was like, "Fuck these guys." You know what I mean? Which is kind of cool, really. Even if you don't enjoy that negative emotion.
He didn't say fuck Christopher Nolan when he was here sitting with us having drinks.
Yeah.
He didn't say it to his face.
What a bitch.
eat it, Nolan.
All right.
cameo.
Oh, is it fucking cameo time? Like
It's cameo
14
time.
times. It's probably edited out, but
Hey.
14 times we were like, "Hey, cameo." Brad's like, "Not yet. Not yet."
Stop it. Is there cameo?
No, let's go.
Is
All
there,
right, let's
is
move
there-
Moving on.
Is there anyone in the movie that's dead?
I think there's some of the older guys. Yeah,
Okay.
Not Michael Caine.
the blind dudes.
The blind guys.
So what are we streaming?
Streaming recommendations.
I got it.
I've got a good one. So mine, I'm magic adjacent.
Oh,
Michael Caine adjacent, because Michael Caine is in this movie. I'm going with Now You See Me.
I have never seen that. Is it good?
So
it's with
it is.
who's the main actor?
You got
Jesse
Woody
Eisenberg.
Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg,
Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah,
Isla Fisher, Dave Franco, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine.
I dug it.
Oh, and the dude you hate.
Which
Hulk,
one?
Hulk from
Fuck.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo as well, and Common, he's in it as well. So it's a great fun. It's just a fun, stupid movie. Like, it's about as popcorn as it gets. It deals with magic. Some of it's so implausible, but there's fun twists.
Heisenberg's good too.
Oh, it's good. It is really good. It's on Fubo. So yeah, check it out on Fubo or rent it, because I think Fubo's the only place you can stream it, and whoever the fuck's got Fubo, enjoy it.
No one has Fobo.
Now You See Me.
Fubo.
And they have a part 2, which it's just as silly and dumb, but it's fun as well. And there's, like I said, they're allegedly doing a number 3.
I didn't like the second one.
Wait, I thought you said you didn't see the first one.
No, I saw the first one with Jesse Eisenberg.
got
Yeah,
it,
it was
got
good.
it,
It was good.
okay.
Does Fubo
It's
stand for us by others? I was just curious.
I think they missed a big opportunity with Now You See Me 2, which they called it Now You See Me 2 with a number 2. They should have called it Now You Don't.
You would think.
You would think. Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
But maybe
You
they
mean
already
they
had,
called the
maybe they already
first
had
movie Now
plans
You
for
See
the
Me?
third one. So they're like, what do we do after that?
Hugeness.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Go fuck yourself.
I like that as a movie. I like that as the
People are, what the fuck is this movie
Third
called?
movie.
Go fuck yourself. It's Now You See Me Part
gotta
3.
You idiot.
Streaming.
I want you
What do we got?
I want you to stream Interstellar, which I again will argue is the best Nolan. And we did this we've talked about this. We got to bring this out. Do this again. We did it in the basement tapes, which will never see the light of day, but we might rehash it. And you can see that on Paramount Plus, which I do not own.
Dude, fucking Fubo is killing it this week, because my streaming recommendation is gonna be probably my second favorite Bale, which is Dickie in The Fighter, and it's fucking streaming for free on Fubo. Like, how much is Fubo per month?
It's like $85.
No clue. Talk to Puffy.
Is Fubo a puffy?
Yo, Sean. Yo, Mr.
No,
Combs.
this dude's always called it Fubu, but it's Fubo.
Okay. What did I steal yours, Nikki?
Yep, you stole mine.
All right, well, good.
It's all good.
You're with me on Interstellar.
yeah,
You
I'm
can
with
get
you.
So that's a double recommendation for Interstellar, if I'm correct.
It's very.
If you
good.
haven't watched it, go fucking
Yeah,
watch it.
And just check out all the Nolan
and I
movies.
was
Why
and
not?
I didn't see that until you guys made me watch it for the basement tapes, and I was blown away.
I told you about it for a very long time.
Yeah, and
Interstellar?
I was like, yeah, that's cool. And I
You hadn't
watched
seen it when
No,
we watched it
that
for
was
the
it.
Dude, I hadn't seen it either.
I remember telling Zach, both you guys about it for
Yeah.
Oh,
quite
fucking
a while.
wild. Scotchbeck's saying, I haven't seen it either.
Well, that's your homework assignment, Scotch.
ooh,
I accept.
enjoy.
Where are we? We
It's time for alternate endings or reshow.
Don't watch Interstellar the night after you watch Prestige, because you're going to be like,
a lot.
just wait a month and then watch it. All right. What's our next category? I'm the host and I don't know.
Reshelf it.
alternating.
Oh my God. We got reshelfs galore. Brad said he wanted to start us off. So where we reshelfing, Bradley?
All right, so we're going alternate ending. And my whole point in this alternate ending is that they have a fucking cloning device. Like, it can clone shit. So Angiers clones himself, and rather than just cap himself instantly, he's like, let's have a conversation, dude. Like, let's talk about this. Like, you hate Borden. I hate Borden. Let's do some shit. And so they clone a few more themselves. They've got a bunch of them. And now they're just going and haunting the shit out of Borden. Like, they're just like popping up in weird places. Like, they'll show up in a location, and all of a sudden somebody will leave, and then all of a sudden he's like right behind Borden. And he's like, Borden's just like losing his mind. What the fuck? Like, how's he doing this? Like, this is wild. So Borden's going back in there, and he and his brother are talking. They're like, fuck, man, we got to get back at this dude. We can do some of the same shit. Maybe he's just a twin as well, and he's doing the same shit. So let's fuck with him. And so they're now kind of doing some of the same stuff. And Angiers is just like losing his mind. He's like getting tweaked out, and he's like very reacting. And one time they fuck him over so bad, he's just reacting, and he's just like, he pulls out a gun and he just blows his head off, kills himself. And the Bordens are like, fuck. Damn it. It's like we took this match to the streets, and all of a sudden this dude kills himself.
This
like,
dude's hard as fuck.
this is not good. Like, man, I feel kind of bad about this. But so they go back to doing their own thing. And Angier all of a sudden one day shows back up, and the Bordens are like, no, dude, we saw you kill yourself. Like, oh, and then they start talking like Borden's sitting there talking. He's like, wait a second, we have the same secret. And Angier's like, what are you talking about? And Borden, Fallon's right there. Fallon takes off his shit, and Fallon's like, we're twins.
Scooby-Doo moment?
He's like, you're a twin too. And Angier looks at him, kind of smirks, and then all of a sudden out of the dark, like 15 Angiers come out of the thing, and they just circle around the Bordens, and they're all just kind of smirking, looking at him, and boom, we go to credits. Like,
Damn.
I actually like that.
So
I want to see him get killed though.
Can I jump on that real quick because I couldn't figure out how to do my dad's
Till Dawn.
Prestige Till Dawn.
I almost went that direction, and then I
They're
was like,
vampires. They're all vampire like siblings.
Every time
And
Tesla
they
like
live forever.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to alternate. So I want to remove this. So I'm going to stick pretty tightly with it, and I haven't figured out exactly, but okay. So he pays all this money, right, to Tesla, and it's not Tesla at all. So it's a totally fake Tesla, right? It's all put on. All the hats, the cats, those were all planted there as a device, right, to try to eventually convince him, right?
to trick him.
Yeah, this is all done, and you when you get the flashbacks later to sort of explain it, it's Bale. One of the twins is there in disguise because, of course, they can split up. So one of the twins followed him to Colorado Springs and hung the whole time.
He's dressed as Andy Serkis as the little helper for David Bowie.
Totally.
I love that.
So he's there the whole time. He's getting this. So not only right is this part of a great trick because he gets him to like think that he's got this great transporter device, but he gets a shit ton of money. He's conned him out of like this huge fortune. So now Bale's got a bunch of money. Okay, so everything proceeds exactly as it does, except we see that, tries to clone himself, right? He's in it, and we don't know what happens, right? It cuts. So we don't see the guy pop up that he shoots. We're left to not know, did this really work? And so it feeds us for that last few minutes thinking that like maybe this really was, because we don't know yet that Tesla was a fake. So we think he really did it. We think that it all worked out. And then all of a sudden, right, there's this great engineering feat that somehow, he gets in some vacuum tube that shoots him up to the balcony.
Oh, like at the bank.
And
Fuck yeah.
yeah, he's like a fucking bank deposit.
He's just like,
pneumatic tube, yeah.
Because I mean, can we step back for a second and appreciate that if we're led to believe that Tesla created like a fucking cloner, we should probably believe that we could do a vacuum tube for a person. Okay, so anyway, so what are all these things in the tanks that they keep hauling out? Every single night, he has the part of the trick is he drops in this like wax person to the tank, knowing that one night the guy's going to come and think that he killed him, and then they do a sort of some sort of swapperoo he pays off the fucking guy, so he actually does frame Bale. Right after he realizes he's been conned.
oh, so he does realize at some point that he's going to
he
get
keeps
fucked.
zapping himself, and he's like, "This shit doesn't work. This
All he
is a
does is-
total. I got conned."
Every time he does it, he grows one more dick, and he's
Yeah,
like,
he's
"What
like-
the
so he's like
fuck? I've got 7 dicks."
So it's like a con back to a con, and then another con, and bango, bingo, bongos. We're home.
Con.
So I'm just telling you, like, I want to get that fucking like invention out of there. I want the simplest explanation. Simplest explanation is a vacuum tube and a wax guy.
See, we're both on like the opposite ends because like I just like they have a cloning device, use it properly, and you're like, let's get rid of the cloning device.
No,
we need somewhere on that side because I think the happy middle is not that happy.
So there's
Kinda
two ways
stupid.
you go with it. One, you go super dark, and my alternate ending would be like he clones himself and then starts having like this weird incestuous homosexual relationship with himself, right? Or
Of course, that's where you would go,
dude, I literally have never ever to this moment thought about clones having a sexual relationship, and I'll never not think about it again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give one quick shout out, and if anybody out there gets this, I would be so happy. There was an old comic. It was a Canadian comic called Space Moose, and it was big when I was in college, like in the late '90s.
with who?
It was just called Space Moose.
Yeah, I know, but who was it big with?
Good question. Good question.
It was big.
It was kind of a cult thing. It was this dude Adam Thrasher that created this comic, and the Space Moose. In one, he has a device where he can like time travel, and he time travels back just so he can go fuck himself. And he's like, in one of the panels, he's actually like fucking a version of himself. And I thought that was hilarious at the time.
Huge with everybody at the south end of the second floor of Grace Cavell Hall. Huge with that crowd.
Great
Space
reference,
Moose was
bro.
great.
So he's either going to have a dark incestuous relationship where he fucks himself, or he's going to, I mean, you saw him, right? He's got a fucking 12-pack. He just makes like an army of gigolo jackmans that go out and just like, you know what I mean? They just go out and fuck like the rich like London debutantes that are trying to get with like hot dudes with abs.
I don't know if abs I don't think abs were a thing back then. They wanted the fat guys. They knew they were rich.
Yeah, they
I
knew
don't
rich
think
and
so,
eating
dude.
well.
We're eating well. Yep. All right. Well, hey, you know,
I'm unconvinced.
you can't turn down an offer. You got things in a movie you just can't avoid. You can't turn down an offer at your daughter's wedding, and you got a cloning device. You got to attack those things head on.
Are you about to make me
Dick
an offer
first.
I can't resist?
Cannot say no to.
Cannot say no to it, but you can if you
I have a
want.
hard time turning down, but I'll think about
I'll
it.
understand if you
Offer
don't.
that you will nod your head to.
So the story follows because Tesla created it. You're led to believe Tesla's never tried it on himself. He's in a competition with fucking Thomas Edison.
And he's like, but I'm not doing this. And he
So he has
to
tried
this
it on
point has
himself.
not tried it with a cat.
Are you telling my story?
I'm just saying. I'm color. I'm adding color.
With a black cat.
It's the first time Nick hasn't got mad at me on the pod. I love
Hey,
it.
Scotch, will you tell the story?
No, thanks, Nate. I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
But Tesla and Tom, it's not long, so I don't think I have anything long. I had 2 lines and you jumped in quick. I'm getting my second line.
You guys are making me laugh.
Tesla and Thomas Edison, they're at each other's neck. Thomas Edison, they're burning down Tesla's factory, science, his magician wizard factory.
Factory science magician wizard factory.
They're burning it to the ground.
Nick, I'm following. I'm waiting.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm thinking of Brad calling wizard. but Tesla at this point, he's created the whole competition between him and Edison because Thomas Edison is Tesla's. He's created Tesla. Tesla is a dressed up version with makeup of Thomas Edison is that of Tesla. So Tesla created Edison to create this competition, this false competition. I don't know what for, but he created Thomas Edison. They're the same person.
It makes Edison look
It makes him. It's a conglomerate. It's an electricity conglomerate. He's led to believe. He's making everybody believe that Thomas Edison and himself Tesla are competing.
And then Edison gets out of hand, and he just it's like he loses control of him, and shit goes awry.
Ends with a sex scene between the two of them. If you would just let me get to the final blowout.
God damn it.
It's a different kind of prestige till dawn, right there.
Water,
different kind of blowout.
squirt emoji.
Are you talking about prestige till dawn? Is that what
God damn, I wish I could think. We can cut this, and I'll think of something electric-y.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Oh, I love that.
Prestige electric boogaloo?
Dude, so I got one more alternate ending that I just thought of when Nick was doing his, because obviously Tesla wants to try the thing out, right?
Yeah.
So David Bowie goes underneath the thing, zaps himself. Guess who comes up on the other side of the thing? Ziggy fucking Stardust.
Ziggy.
There's my new movie. Oh, I fucking love
That's
it.
a music video.
Well, not to mention that Tesla's first intention was like, oh shit, I can clone actual beings.
He warned him.
You can end starvation. And he's like, no, fuck.
If you can clone hats, you can clone steaks,
I'm giving
right?
it to the great Danton. I'm giving it to the great Danton.
The great Danton.
Rather than cure, end all sorts of supply resource.
You put a stack of cash, bro.
Oh, yeah. He's just like, oh, no. Why don't you give me $100? Put it in the machine. Fucking, there's just a big stack of money out there by the cats.
It's so stupid. You got advice like
God
that.
damn, you
Got
are
cat
poking
piss
too
all
many
over it.
holes in this
So many
movie. I
beautiful
really
things you
like
get-
this movie.
So many great things you can do with it, and he decides, nah, I'm just gonna let this guy continue his blood
telling you,
fuse.
My Benjamin's got cat piss.
This
all
is
over it.
this is the great downfall. This is the major weakness.
Yeah,
Once you see,
they shouldn't have brought that machine out. So stupid.
So earlier, Brad's little board said 7 hours on it. Now it says 39 minutes. So I'm a little worried that we didn't do this correctly.
It's because we're doing a Nolan film.
Yeah, Scott just said this timeline thing is really fucking everything up.
What's funny is we literally record our pods like Nolan films.
We do,
which is why you guys often hear us refer to things that haven't happened yet.
And I want to give props to those that have lasted. I mean, because this has been a decent sized pod.
This is Godfather.
You know,
size?
the time kind of moves around, shifts around. Hope you're listening to this in like maybe chapters, but yeah. Hey, much props to all of you guys that have gone the whole way through.
All of you guys with a 2-hour commute to work, you guys are stoked right now.
Yeah, we're right on it.
All right, where are we moving on to?
So, guys, everybody get a babysitter, find yourself some transportation, and come out to Last Call Brewing on February 5th and come see us for our beer release of BVK IPA. We're all super excited about it. Thanks for listening to us bullshit about Prestige and Hugh Jackman fucking himself and all of the fun shit that we got into this pod. Does anybody else have any parting gifts or comments?
We got a draft coming up Thursday.
The best Christian Bale performance.
We're gonna go deep.
16
Deep in the Bale.
picks of Christian Bale, and we're gonna say that you can pick either him as Batman in any of the movies, right, Brad?
Yeah, those will be individual performances. So.
Okay, I like that.
Which Batman performance is the best?
And Scotch Beck is coming on as our guest. We're going to have Lauren Allaire on, our friend who's a model and an artist and on Instagram. She booked a gig last minute, so she's going to come on in a few weeks. But we're still going to call her out on all the socials and probably make fun of her.
Yeah, and she'll be back soon.
She'll be back.
She'll join us.
We got Scotch Beck coming to judge us, the OG judge. So we're looking forward to that.
I mean,
maybe I'll.
It's kind of like a lateral move. We're just going from one beauty to the other.
Yeah.
Healthy,
You know what I mean?
healthy Scotch.
Yeah.
Coming off that Rona.
Off that Rona. He's come back.
Yeah, he's actually here. We allowed him. The CDC was like, called us up. They're like, yeah, Scotch can come over.
I think for podcasts, it's only a 3-day quarantine.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, CDC just changed that rule.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of flip-flopping. They're flopping and flipping, snip, snap, snip, snap.
All right.
Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you on Thursday for the draft. Bye-bye.
Later.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just a blind by, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Natek and Brad, your favorite podcast. The stars.